Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Immortal Cultivation, Two-World Traveler with Many Children and Many Blessings. Chapter 61. Zhang Haofeng was indeed so shocked that he once suspected that this was his illusion. This also caused him to be stunned for a moment. However, he has extremely rich combat experience and has been on the verge of life and death several times. Facing the incoming sword, he almost instinctively stepped back. Kankan avoided this sword. His physical skills had indeed reached the pinnacle, and in an instant, he had retreated dozens of meters. Yi Mo did not pursue the victory. He could see that Zhang Haofeng's speed was not slower than his own. If Zhang Haofeng wanted to escape, he might not be able to catch up. Of course, the most important thing is that although the spiritual weapon sword broke Zhang Haofeng's silver sword, there was also a crack in the spiritual weapon sword. This crack is very small, but the power of a spiritual weapon with cracks will be greatly reduced. The reason why the spiritual weapon sword was injured by a mortal weapon was mainly because the spiritual weapon itself was relatively low level and had been fought many times. But even so, it is enough to show that Zhang Haofeng's silver cutting is indeed good. Cheating, definitely cheating, there is something wrong with that sword. Seeing such a result, a fan seemed to be even more excited than Zhang Haofeng. That's right, cutting silver and cutting iron is like clay. How can it be broken in one blow? This Yi Mo is so shameless, he even tampered with the sword. HMPH, Brother Wanwei Feng challenged him in an upright manner, but I didn't expect this person to be so despicable. Everyone didn't believe the result and criticized Yi Mo one after another. Even Song Bowen and Hao Xing frowned. Apparently they didn't expect it either. Yi Mo only used his sword to block, and neither sword was considered a real confrontation. Captain Hao, what's going on? Zan Yin can't be so weak, right? Song Bowen looked puzzled. It's hard to tell yet, but Yi Mo's sword is definitely not a mortal thing. Hao Xing shook his head. The shadow stream sword technique that Zhang Haofeng used just now had powerful sword intent. Logically speaking, even if Yi Mo blocks it, it is impossible to break the opponent's sword. Unless Yi Mo possesses the strength of innate, there is only a slight possibility under the influence of innate's qi. Your fans will really make excuses for you. Okay, let's do this, we won't use swords anymore. The spiritual weapon sword was damaged. It would be difficult to kill Zhang Haofeng with the spiritual weapon sword, so Yi Mo directly inserted the sword into his waist. No need. Zhang Haofeng adjusted his mentality and regained his previous confidence on his face. You are very good. Among the many martial artists I have met, you are the first one that I took seriously. Although Zhang Haofeng's swordsmanship is powerful, what he is most proud of is his powerful body. He can be invulnerable, which is the basis for his invincibility in battle. Even if he meets innate, he has the confidence to leave calmly even if something goes wrong. After saying that, I saw him clenching his hands, and the clothes on his upper body fell apart instantly. Bronze skin, directly exposed to the cold air. Is this the great accomplishment? Song Bowen opened his eyes slightly. It's not a golden bell. This is the indestructible power of the Vajra. It's the third layer. Ordinary bullets can't shake the skin. Hao Xing pondered. Facing this state, Hao Xing had no confidence that he could break Zhang Haofeng's defense. Even Yi Mo frowned slightly. Although he had heard from Liao Qing that Zhang Haofeng was very powerful, Yi Mo was still a little surprised when he saw it with his own eyes. Judging from the physical fitness displayed by Zhang Haofeng, the opponent has obviously reached the first layer level of physical training. First layer physical cultivation, if it were the water and moon realm, it would be nothing. Generally speaking, it is very difficult for physical practitioners to defeat immortal cultivators. After all, immortal cultivators have many methods. But now in Blue Star, Yi Mo can't use the fire bomb technique, and the current spiritual weapon sword may not be able to break through Zhang Haofeng's defense. While Yi Mo was thinking about countermeasures, Zhang Haofeng took the lead in attacking. His movement was very simple. He made fists with both hands and attacked Yi Mo directly. Because Zhang Haofeng's movement skills were extremely strong and his punches were extremely fast, Yi Mo could only choose to dodge. The battle instantly became one-sided. At this time, Zhang Haofeng's fans were applauding, and it seemed that the next moment they would see Yi Mo being hit by a punch. Liao Qing and the others were also nervous. Yang Ding was so angry that he shouted, Yi Mo, get the sword. Yi Mo was unmoved. He was still very confident. Under his consciousness, it was unlikely that Zhang Haofang would hit him. Yi Mo originally wanted to wait for Zhang Haofang to consume some time before taking action. So I never took action. However, Zhang Haofang threw hundreds of punches in a row without showing any signs of weakness. It was obvious that both the internal strength and physical endurance in his body were very abundant. It looks like we need a quick victory. Yi Mo felt that it didn't make much sense to keep fighting like this. So he thought, and a golden light talisman appeared on his chest. Because it was covered by clothes, no one saw it. Then Yi Mo stopped dodging and hit Zhang Haofang's chest with his fist. Why are you so stupid again? Song Bowen really couldn't figure out what Yi Mo was doing. I'm just looking for death. I have to take action this time. Hao Xing saw that Yi Mo could avoid Zhang Haofang's attacks every time, and thought that even if Yi Mo lost in the end, his life would not be in danger. But he never expected that Yi Mo would stand in a different position and wanted to confront Zhang Haofang. This is obviously a brain convulsion. At this time, Zhang Haofang's fans were a little excited. They took out their mobile phones to record the last wonderful moment. Liao Qing and the others have rushed to the island at this moment. Even Zhang Haofang felt that with one punch, the fight should be over. This battle is beyond my expectation. The previous life and death moments have made me understand a little deeper. It shouldn't take long for me to break through innate. Zhang Haofang thought in his mind. Then he punched Yi Mo's chest. He directly chose to ignore Yi Mo's fist. Boom! Just when Zhang Haofang hit Yi Mo's chest, Yi Mo's body suddenly flashed with countless golden lights. Yi Mo remained motionless. The corners of his mouth were slightly curved. The next moment, a talisman appeared on his fist, and with the talisman in his fist, he hit Zhang Haofang's chest. Then, Yi Mo jumped up high. In the air, the spiritual weapon sword reappeared. He held the hilt of the sword with both hands and struck at Zhang Haofang. Zhang Haofang was hit by Yi Mo and remained motionless. He looked at the talisman on his chest and didn't know why. The next moment, there was a bang. The fire bomb talisman exploded. Zhang Haofang's chest seemed to be burning. A fist-sized hole soon appeared in his chest. But he hadn't waited for any pain to hit him yet. The spiritual weapon sword was struck from the top of his head like a broken bamboo, splitting it in two. Well, when Lin Lin gives birth to a child, her consciousness will be strengthened and she can wield a sword. It won't be so troublesome to kill. Yi Mo wiped his sword, looked at Zhang Haofang, and inserted the spiritual weapon sword into his waist. Then he waved to Liao Qing, who had just arrived on the island. Let's go, call it a day. We'll be back in time for lunch. Yi Mo downplayed it, but the people present looked confused. They still don't seem to know what's going on. Zhang Haofang clearly had the upper hand just now, so why did he suddenly die? Yi Mo, you. Liao Qing's face was full of excitement, and he couldn't speak clearly. Basic operations, don't admire me too much. Yi Mo said lightly, then looked at Song Bowen and Hao Xing not far away. Yi Mo has never met Song Bowen. However, there are also speculations. I am Song Bowen, the director of the Yongcheng branch. This is Captain Hao Xinghao from Zonghai. Yi Mo, how did you do it just now? Why does that piece of paper look like a ghost-catching talisman? Song Bowen briefly introduced himself, and then immediately started asking. He knew that if you didn't have that piece of paper, it might be difficult for Yi Mo to break through Zhang Haofang's defense. It's just some technological means. Director Song is not superstitious. Yi Mo looked careless. There must be no explanation for the spiritual talisman. Seeing that Song Bowen wanted to ask more questions, he changed the subject. Director Song, Liao Qing told me before that he wanted me to be a guest of your 9th Bureau. No, do you know if it's time to do it now? A few days ago, Liao Qing told Yi Mo about this matter. But I didn't agree at the time. Now that I think about it, becoming a guest of the 9th Bureau is not a bad thing, at least it will be much more convenient. You agreed, okay, I'll go through the onboarding procedures for you immediately after I get back. Song Bowen said immediately. Wait a minute, how can a casual job like a guest service be worthy of Yi Mo? Are you interested in going to Zonghai with me? I can make you my vice captain. To put it bluntly, guest service personnel or non-staff personnel who must be on duty every day. However, Song Bowen promised Yimo that he did not need Yimo to do this, and would only let Yimo act together when encountering a strong enemy. Captain Hao, many of my friends are in Yangcheng. I'm afraid it won't be convenient to go to Zonghai. Yimo declined politely. Hao Xing naturally understood Yimo's situation very well, and was speechless for a moment. Seeing that he didn't speak, Yimo jumped up and flew towards the lake shore. Liao Qing and others immediately followed. Then drive away from the scenic spot. Outside the scenic area, Yi Qingmei was already trembling with excitement. He saw the entire battle between Yimo and Zhang Haofeng. At this time, there was only one thought in her mind: Yimo didn't lie to him. However, Zhao Xiaohan still had no law manifestation letter and kept asking the young man who flew the drone, "Handsome guy, are you sure they are not making a movie?" "Sister, it's definitely not the case. It's just such a small island. You saw it and there's nothing there. How could it be a movie? I'm so doomed. There are such powerful people in the world." Several young people were extremely excited. Zhao Xiaohan can actually see it, but she still has no law manifestation letter. "Xiaoyan, this must be true." At the Lui Tea house, Yimo just slapped Lu Baicheng unconscious with a casual slap. Ordinary people can't do that. Yi Qingmei's eyes flashed with hope. If it is true, then uncle. Zhao Xiaohan felt a little unbelievable when he thought about it. He looked at Yi Qingmei's father, hesitant to speak. Yi Qingmei's father didn't know this. He always thought his daughter was watching some movie there. "Xiaohan, regardless of whether it's true or not, I plan to give it a try this time," Yi Qingmei said solemnly. "Qingmei, although this matter is very ridiculous, I support you this time." Zhao Xiaohan nodded. Not long after, several cars drove out of the east scenic area, but Yi Qingmei did not stop them. She had Cheng Ying's contact information, so it was not difficult to find Yimo. "Dad, let's go back first and come back to play next time." Yi Qingmei planned to go back and discuss with Zhao Xiaohan how to meet Yimo. Since breaking up with Yimo at Lui Tea House, she has contacted Cheng Ying several times and wanted to meet Yimo again, but was rejected by Cheng Ying. The reason is that it is too difficult to save her father. This time she planned to agree to Yimo first, regardless of whether she could save her father. Return to Tianhe apartment. Lu Baijin hadn't come back yet, so Yimo called to ask what was going on. Lu Baijin said that his brother is still in hospital and may not go back today. Yimo didn't think much. "So I went directly to the bureau with Liao Qing and others to go through the entry procedures." The video of his fight with Zhang Haofeng has spread throughout the martial artist world. The discussion about Yimo was extremely intense. Through the video of the battle, there are several points that everyone does not understand. One is the talisman, the other is Yimo's sword, and the sudden golden light on Yimo's body. These three aspects have become hot topics. Lin family, study room. Butler Lian Bo hurried into the study and handed the video of the battle between Yimo and Zhang Haofeng to Lin Shangchen. A few minutes later, Lin stood up slowly and walked back and forth in the room with the brush in his hand. "Lian Rong, go to the song and dance troupe immediately, take a detailed video of everyone and send it to Yimo. No, you send it there in person. When you see him, you tell him that she insists on being with him, and I get so angry that I even tear up my favorite calligraphy and painting into pieces." The expression on Lin Qianchen's face changed several times, and finally he looked at Lian Rong and said solemnly, "Master, have you made up your mind? If the Tang family finds out about this, they will most likely fall out with us." Lian Rong's face was solemn. The first condition for the cooperation between the Tang family and the Lin family is the marriage between the two families, that is, Lin Xishuang must marry into the Tang family. Not many people know about this matter, and it has not been made public. Even Lin Xishuang does not know. Cooperating with the Tang family is a last resort. It can only be regarded as a delaying tactic. Shi marries Tang Sheng. With Tang Sheng's talent, he will definitely break through innate in the future. By then, the Tang family will most likely eat up our Lin family one by one. Quote, "Tang Shungnai is the eldest son and grandson of the Tang family. This person showed strong martial Dao talent since he was a child, and was accepted as a direct disciple by Elder Kunlun at a very young age. Its strength is still unknown. He rarely returns to Yangcheng and spends most of his time practicing in Kunlun. It can be said that Tang Sheng occupies a large part of the reason why the Tang family can secure its position among the 4 major families in Yangcheng. Can Yi Mo really fight against Tang Sheng? Although Yi Mo killed Zhang Haofang, Master Tang Sheng was the elder of Kunlun. Moreover, Tang Sheng has not returned to Yangcheng for several years. Some people say that he may have broken through innate. Let's test it out. When you see Yi Mo, explain to him the situation of the Tang family. Lin Shangchen said. As for the young lady, she has given up on Yi Mo ever since she found out that Yi Mo has many women. I'm afraid that Yi Mo will be able to tell at a glance that we are lying to him. This move is obviously taking advantage of Yi Mo. Once Yi Mo finds out, it will be counterproductive. It's okay to know. As long as we want to express our position, if Yi Mo wants to be with Shi, he must show some real skills. Lin Chang said. Master, are you so sure that Yi Mo will offend the Tang family for the sake of the young lady? Lian Rong frowned. Haha, when Yi Mo left, he seemed to be indifferent to Shi, but he was still too young and just like a child. I can see from his eyes that he has a strong possessive desire for Shi. Based on this alone, it is impossible for him to watch Shi marry someone else. After completing the entry procedures, Yi Mo went directly to Binjiang Mansion. He first said hello to Yang Siqi, and then went to No. 19. Liao Qing chatted with him a lot about the 9th Bureau. Everyone had dinner together again in the evening. Later, Yi Mo was walking with Yang Siqi again. At this time, Lin Shishuang sent a message asking where Yi Mo was, saying that Lian Bo was looking for him. Yi Mo asked him to come to Binjiang Mansion. At about 8 o'clock in the evening, Lian Rong came to Binjiang Mansion and Yi Mo took him to the study. These are all our song and dance troupe members, a total of 340. Yi Mo and Lian Rong added WeChat, and Lian Rong sent the video to Yi Mo. Yi Mo checked it on the spot. Needless to say, these women in the song and dance troupe are indeed good-looking, but Yi Mo checked dozens of them continuously and couldn't find any of them with spiritual roots. Yi Mo, actually my young lady still has a good impression of you, but for some reasons, my master has to stop you from interacting with each other. Lian Rong said while looking at Yi Mo. However, there was no change on Yi Mo's face and he didn't raise his head. He concentrated on watching the video. After waiting for a moment, Yi Mo asked calmly, what's the reason? Because of the Tang family. The Tang family has a Qilin son named Tang Sheng. He has extraordinary talents. He was noticed by the elders of Kunlun at a very young age and has been practicing in Kunlun. It is said that he is now very likely to break through innate. A year ago, my husband approached the Tang family to seek cooperation. The first condition his family offered was a marriage between the two families, asking us to marry our young lady to Tang Sheng. Quote, Tang Sheng was indeed a good man, and Lin Shishuang was a good choice to marry him, but Lin Shangchen knew that the Tang family had wolfish ambitions. So he never agreed to this matter. Delayed till now. Mr. Lin agreed. Yi Mo asked while swiping his phone. Not yet. The master knows that the Tang family's intentions are impure. Also, Tang Sheng has not returned to Yangcheng for several years, so the marriage has never been confirmed. Lian Rong replied. Uncle Lian, you are looking for me this time because you want to test my background. I still know whether Shi has a good impression of me. I won't talk about it in advance, but you want me to help the Lin family get through these crises. I hope Mr. Lin can show sincerity. I don't like people who waver. Yi Mo swiped more than 50 people in a row, but got nothing. He put down his phone and looked at Lian Rong. When Lian Rong came to him this time, Yi Mo knew that he must have seen the video of the battle between himself and Zhang Haofang, which made Lin Shangchen see a glimmer of hope in himself. However, Lin Shangchen did not choose to take sides, but wanted to have an arm wrestling with the Tang family first. Yi Mo, to be honest, we don't know anything about you. Yi Mo could see his intentions, and even Rong was not surprised. It's just that he doesn't have any confidence that a person like Yi Mo, who is a promiscuous woman, will put himself in danger for a woman. Understood. Mr. Lin will naturally have concerns before I show my absolute strength. So, tell me first, what is the strength of the other members of the Tang family except Tang Sheng? Yi Mo picked up his phone again and continued to watch videos. Tang Jian, the head of the Tang family, is Tang Sheng's grandfather. He used to be heaven grade, but now he is old and was injured when he was young. His current strength is probably at Earth level at best. Apart from him, the second and third generations of the Tang family are all mediocre people. However, it is worth mentioning that 2 years ago, Tang Sheng sent a mysterious woman to the Tang family in order to protect Tang Jian. This person's strength is unknown. Quote, without Tang Sheng, the Tang family could be said to be the weakest among the 4 major families. If something unexpected happened to Tang Sheng, the Tang family would be annexed by other families in minutes. Mysterious woman, is there any video of her? Yi Mo asked subconsciously. No, there are only photos. Lian Rong replied. If you have the opportunity, take a video and send it to me. Also send me the detailed information of the second and third generations of the Tang family. Yi Mo didn't care too much about the Tang family. As the saying goes, if you know yourself and the enemy, you will never be in danger. Moreover, if the Tang family also has descendants of spiritual roots, Yi Mo will have to change his strategy and not make things too serious. Okay, then I'll do it now. After Lian Rong finished speaking, he stood up and walked towards the door. Well, wait a minute, bring this person named Lu Zhaofang to Meixin Manor for me tomorrow. Yi Mo's eyes lit up. He searched nearly 100, and finally caught a woman with a spiritual root, and it was also a blue spiritual root, and it also had other attributes. Lu Zhaofang, okay. Yi Mo stayed in Binjiang Mansion at night. The next day, January 19th, Yi Mo came to Meixin Manor. When Cheng Ying saw Yi Mo, she told Yi Mo that Yi Qingmei had sent her a message all night last night, saying that she had met Yi Mo at Donglin Lake. She said that she no longer had any doubts and would agree to whatever conditions Yi Mo offered. Husband, it seems we have one more member. Cheng Ying said with a smile. Let's wait until next time. The reason why Yi Qingmei agreed is because she wants me to cure her father's disease. If I haven't cured her father's disease in the end, even if she follows me, there will definitely be a gap in her heart. Yi Mo thought for a while and decided to see if he could get the Holy Spirit pill. Agreeing to Yi Qingmei at this time is nothing more than putting more pressure on herself. Okay, I'll make it clear to her now. After saying that, Cheng Ying sent a message to Yi Qingmei. Well, someone will come later. Who? Is it the Yu Mengyao you mentioned before? No, another one. Because the Chinese New Year was coming soon, Yu Mengyao's father refused to allow Yu Mengyao to go out to work. In the end, she could only wait until the New Year was over. Originally, Yi Mo could have married Yu Mengyao directly. But Yu Zhen knew that Yi Mo had a girlfriend, so he had no choice but to think long term. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, Lu Zhaofang finally arrived. Yi Mo started the character search again. Character: Lu Zhaofang. Cultivation: none. Spiritual root: blue spiritual root, the body of charm. P.S. Charming body. The host and its dual cultivation can increase one's own charm. For Yi Mo, this physique is a timely help. Yi Mo is already good looking, and if he adds some more charm points, he will be even more powerful. Hello, Mr. Yi, I am Lu Zhaofang. Lu Zhaofang stretched out her little hand and shook hands with Yi Mo, then looked at Cheng Ying who was standing aside. Because of the winter, Cheng Ying wore more clothes, so she didn't see that Cheng Ying was pregnant. She thought to herself, could it be 1v2? Yesterday the group leader told her that someone was interested in her and told her not to come to the group again. To be honest, she was still a little nervous at the time. After all, many of the people who were interested in them were middle-aged uncles or even old men. But when she saw Yi Mo's photo, she felt relieved. Sister Zhaofang, it's windy outside, let's go inside and talk. Cheng Ying showed great enthusiasm and walked into the villa with Lu Zhaofang on her arm. When they came to the hall, Cheng Ying turned into Yi Mo's mouth substitute and asked Lu Zhaofang many questions, such as the situation at home. He is an orphan. He was adopted by the Lin family since he was a child. When Lu Zhaofang said this, her voice became softer, and she seemed a little inferior. Cheng Ying naturally noticed it, so she immediately said, isn't this a coincidence? Mr. Yi is also an orphan. It seems that you two were really destined. Ah, Mr. Yi too. Lu Zhaofang looked at Yi Mo in surprise. It seems incredible. In her opinion, Yi Mo should be a son of a rich family. Otherwise, the Lin family would not be able to give him to Yi Mo. Yeah, even though Mr. Yi is an orphan, he is very powerful. Cheng Ying didn't say how powerful Yi Mo was. Lu Zhaofang was doubtful. So Cheng Ying started making up stories, talking about the decline of Yi Mo's family, how powerful the Yi family used to be. Anyway, blow as much as you can. Now that the family is in decline, it urgently needs to spread its branches. Cheng Ying did not say that Yi Mo was a cultivator of immortality, because Yi Mo did not have any spiritual stones on his body, so he could only teach Lu Zhaofang the techniques of cultivating immortality when he came next time. You mean you want me to have a baby? Lu Zhaofang was surprised again. In fact, he didn't resist giving birth at all, and was even a little excited. Because as far as she knew, her sisters actually did not live a good life after being sent away by the Lin family, at least they were not able to see the light of day. But if Yi Mo wants to have a child with him, his status will definitely be different. Yes, if you agree, there will be surprises in the future. Cheng Ying said with a smile. Sister Ying, I agree. Lu Zhaofang agreed to have a baby without hesitation. As for Cheng Ying saying there would be surprises in the future, she didn't even think about it. Let's get started. The bedroom on the second floor, the new quilt I bought. An hour later, the system prompts that the charm value increases by 1. System, increase the charm value by 1, is there any change? Yi Mo asked in his mind. Not much, maybe your hairstyle doesn't look so annoying. The system replied. Regarding the hairstyle, Yi Mo had no choice. After all, he had to return to the Water Moon realm, so he couldn't shave his hair short, as that would look weird in the Water Moon realm. How much can the charm value be increased at most? Yi Mo then asked. I can add 100, but the later additions will be slower and require your diligence. Okay, then I'll suffer a little more. The war continues. After 3 times in a row, Lu Zhaofang was exhausted. Yi Mo then gave up. In the next few days, Yi Mo would increase his charm value by a few points every day until January 21st, when his charm value reached 13 points. Moreover, Yi's image has also undergone earth-shaking changes at this time. The most intuitive feeling is that walking on the street has attracted many young girls and young women to look sideways. Yi Mo also went back home with Zhu Leiyao in the past few days. Because the Chinese New Year was coming soon, Yi Mo excused himself to go abroad and wouldn't be back until a few months later. Zhu's father looked regretful. He could have pretended to celebrate the New Year. But he also knows that the vice president is definitely busy. On January 20th, Lian Rong collected information on everyone in the Tang family. Among the 3 generations, there were not many women, and none of them had spiritual roots. As for the mysterious woman from the Tang family, she rarely goes out and is usually practicing, so no video was taken. Lian Rong just sent Yi Mo a photo. The photo system cannot recognize him, but he looks pretty good looking. January 21st, evening. Yi Mo stayed in his room. Because Lu Baijin was still taking care of her brother, Yi Mo was too lazy to go to the forest to transmigrate, and stayed in the room until the energy of the boundary stone was fully charged. 6.5. A flash of lightning flashed, and Yi Mo's body disappeared instantly. Water Moon Realm, September 26th. After Transmigrate came back, Yi Mo went directly to the mine. At the entrance of the mine, Yi Mo saw Xiao Wen and the others, who were handing over the spirit stones. Yi Mo said hello to them and went to mine alone. He planned to dig directly for 24 hours to make up for the missed day. When they came to the mine, there were several younger brothers who were in the early stages of chi training digging. When they saw Yi Mo, they all called, "Fifth brother." This is the benefit of strength. At 6 o'clock in the morning on September 27th, Xiao Wen and others arrived one after another. Yi Mo told Xiao Wen that Guo Yang's subordinate Ji Yujian came to him. Xiao Wen looked very ugly. He knew that Guo Zhang would definitely not give up and the coming days would be difficult. Yi Mo, I saw you right. From now on, I, Xiao Wen, will never be without you. Xiao Wen patted Yi Mo's shoulder. He was indeed a little surprised. It had only been a few days since Yi Mo joined them. Even if he defected to Guo Zhang, no one would say anything. What's more, there is a huge gap in strength between himself and Guo Zhang. Yi Mo not only rejected the ancient sword, but also informed himself of the matter. This alone makes it worthy of trust. Brother, if Guo Zhang really wants to attack us, how should we respond? Xiao Wu looked worried. They only have such a small number of people now, and there is no way they can fight against Guo Zhang. Are they going to give up their current mining land again? Boss Xiao, no matter what, wherever you go, we will follow you. Bai He and Yi Shi also expressed their opinions. And those younger brothers who were in the early stages of Qi training also agreed. Of course, it is unknown how many of these people are loyal. Okay, as a brother, I, Xiao Wen, will never let you down. If Guo Zhang comes to find you, I, Xiao Wen, will be the first to stand up. Xiao Wen said loudly. September 29th. 5 miles away from Xiaowen Mine, this is Guo Yang's base camp. Guo Zhang stood at the entrance of the passage. Behind him, there were a total of 20 miners, all of whom were in the middle of Qi training. Brothers, now we have taken over all the nearby mining lands, except for Xiaowen's small piece of mining land. I know that many of you used to be Xiaowen's subordinates, but there is no father or son in the mine. Whoever's fist is bigger will have the final say. Whoever is stronger will get one more spiritual stone. Now, the spirit stone is in the mine 5 miles away, tell me if you want to bring it over. Go, take all their spirit stones. 20 miners shouted loudly. Okay, everyone, come with me. Guo Zhang waved his hand, and more than 20 people immediately ran towards Xiao Wen's mine. In less than 10 minutes, they arrived at the entrance of the mine. As for Xiao Wen's assassin, he discovered Guo Zhang early in the morning and immediately reported to Xiao Wen consciously. What is supposed to come will eventually come, brothers. In the past 6 months, you have fought with me in several mining areas, hiding here and there. This time I will not leave. I have decided to fight Guo Zhang to the end. If you want to leave, you can leave now. I, Xiao Wen, promise not to say another word. Xiao Wen looked at his 8 men, his eyes exuding a strong fighting spirit. Mom has a pimple and a big scar on her head. Ever since I came to this mine, I have no intention of leaving alive. Boss Xiao, let's fight with Guo Zhang. Bai He threw the spiritual hoe away and shouted loudly. People like them are already living a precarious life. Instead of living like this, it is better to fight to the death. The reason why Bai He was so determined was because his relationship with Guo Zhang was not good. Even if he surrendered, Guo Zhang would not let him go. Following Bai He's loud shout, the others threw away the spiritual hose in their hands, indicating that they would no longer back down. Okay, let's have a good fight today. After Xiao Wen finished speaking, he patted the storage bag, and a spiritual sword appeared in his hand. He turned and walked towards the entrance of the passage. Yi Mo's expression changed several times, knowing that this battle was inevitable, so he quickly moved forward, came to Xiao Wen's side, and said softly, Boss Xiao, if you can trust me, don't get too excited later and try to let Guo Zhang relax. Alert. The only way to escape all this is to kill Guo Zhang. Guo Yang's men are all in the middle stage of Qi training. Once Guo Zhang dies and there is no leader, his men will most likely choose to surrender. Brother Yi, do you want to? Xiao Wen's expression changed slightly, causing Guo Zhang to relax his vigilance. Could it be that he wanted to assassinate Guo Zhang? Just as this possible, he couldn't think of any means to kill Guo Zhang. Even he, secretly, couldn't kill Guo Zhang with one blow. Boss Xiao, you should also know that we have no chance of winning this time. Either way, we will die. Why don't you let me try? To be honest, Yi Mo didn't have much confidence. After all, Guo Zhang has more than 20 people, and he must ensure that Guo Zhang is headshot with the first shot. Okay, Brother Yi, if you can really kill Guo Zhang, I, Xiao Wen, owe you my life. Xiao Wen actually didn't have any hope. But as Yi Mo said, you will die no matter what, so why not try? Just treat it like a dead horse and a live doctor. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of the passage. At this time, Guo Zhang and his men had arrived. The two teams were only 20 meters apart. Boss Xiao, where are you going? Guo Zhang had a smile in his eyes. When he saw Xiao Wen leading everyone out, he thought he was afraid of himself and wanted to leave the mine. Guo Zhang, I retreated again and again, but I didn't expect you to still refuse to let me go. Xiao Wen said gloomily. Let you go? When I was around you, when you shouted at me and treated me like a dog, did you ever think about my feelings? Guo Zhang sneered and said, if it weren't for his limited strength, he would have killed Xiao Wen long ago, why wait until now? Okay, even if it was my fault at the beginning, if you had any grudges, you could come against me alone. Can you let these brothers go? Xiao Wen didn't defend himself. Did he treat Guo Zhang badly at the beginning? Some people are too ambitious, and no matter how nice you are to them, they will not be grateful. Don't be hypocritical here. It's not impossible to let them go. As long as all the spiritual stones they dig in the future belong to me, I promise not to touch a hair of theirs. Guo Zhang smiled slightly. He saw that Xiao Wen didn't seem to want to resist, which was very good. I'm just daydreaming. Even if I throw my spirit stone away and feed it to the dogs, I still can't give it to you. Bai he said angrily, and then immediately said to Xiao Wen, Boss Xiao, there is no need to compromise with him, or you will die. However, Xiao Wen ignored him. He glanced at Yi Mo, and the next second, he threw the spiritual sword in his hand to the ground. When he saw Guo Zhang, I hope you keep your word. Haha, Xiao Wen, this is your weakness. I told you a long time ago that you can't be the boss. If I stay by your side, we people will never be able to turn around. Guo Zhang laughed a few times, then let the ancient sword move forward and picked up Xiao Wen's spiritual weapon sword. Boss Xiao, why, didn't we all agree? Bai he was puzzled. He didn't understand why Xiao Wen regretted it again. Even Xiao Wu was puzzled. He knew his elder brother very well and could not just surrender like this. Of course, most of them were slightly relieved. After all, no one wanted to die if they could live. Bai he, you are still young. You may have a chance to leave alive in the future. Xiao Wen shook his head. Bai he clenched his hands tightly, his face full of reluctance. He followed Xiao Wen when he came to the mine, and Xiao Wen taught him a lot. It can be said that without Xiao Wen, Bai he would not be alive until now. Boss Xiao, needless to say, there is hope only when you are alive. Xiao Wen scolded, then took 2 steps forward. Guo Zhang, do it. Oh, Guo Zhang waved his hand gently, and the men behind him immediately cast spells. To be honest, Xiao Wen was a little nervous at this time, because if Yi Mo lied to him, he would definitely die this time. But soon he thought that even if he resisted, he would probably die. But now that he chooses to surrender, he might be able to save his brother's life. Thinking of this, Xiao Wen simply closed his eyes. At this time, time seemed to slow down. When his spells gradually took shape, Guo Zhang finally couldn't help but curl his lips. He has been waiting for this day for a long time. It seems that only when Xiao Wen dies can he regain all the dignity he lost before. From today on, I, Guo Zhang. The corners of Guo Yang's mouth became wider and wider, as if he couldn't help but want to laugh out loud. However, at this moment, a bullet pierced the passage. The distance of 20 meters can be reached in the blink of an eye. Puff! Without any warning, the bullet passed between Guo Yang's eyebrows. Then, the second one, the third one. With a bang, Guo Zhang fell straight down, his eyes wide open, and he refused to close his eyes. This sudden scene made everyone stunned. Have no idea what's going on. Boss Xiao, Guo Zhang is dead. Yi Mo yelled and immediately put the AK into the space. Yi Mo actually held the AK in his hand early in the morning, but the gun was covered with invisibility charms and insulation notes. As for Guo Yang's men, no one paid any attention to him. As long as someone uses his spiritual consciousness to investigate carefully, he will be able to find the iron knot in Yi Mo's hand. Although they don't know the power of the gun, they will definitely have doubts. It's just that they didn't take Yi Mo seriously at all, and almost all focused on Xiao Wen. What? Xiao Wen immediately opened his eyes. At this time, Guo Zhang was lying on the ground motionless, with several holes appearing on his forehead and blood flowing out continuously. Xiao Wen was also a little confused at this moment and forgot what to do next. Yi Mo had no choice but to move forward and loudly said to Guo Yang's men, now that Guo Zhang is dead, your only way out is to join us, Boss Xiao. We will not pursue anyone who gives up resistance. Guo Yang's men didn't seem to have reacted yet. After confirming that their boss was really cool, the 20s suddenly became commotion. In the end, Ji Yujian took the lead and said, we are willing to join Boss Xiao. Once Guo Zhang died, this group of people was in disarray. If they did not take refuge in Xiao Wen, they would eventually be recovered by other forces. Xiao Wen looked at Yimo and then at Guo Yang's body. He was so unbelievable that he didn't even reply to Ji Yujian's words. Ji Yujian moved forward, presented Xiao Wen's spiritual weapon sword, and said loudly, "Please also ask Boss Xiao to come to our mine to take charge." Good. At this time, Xiao Wen finally confirmed that Guo Zhang was indeed dead. Although he didn't know how Yimo did it, now was obviously not the time to ask. He took his spiritual sword, came to Guo Zhang, took off Guo Yang's storage bag, and then used a fire bomb to burn Guo Yang's body. Then with a big wave of his hand, he led nearly 30 people to Guo Yang's mining land. Xiao Wen wanted to let Yimo walk beside him. Firstly, he wanted to declare Yimo's status. Secondly, he also wanted to ask Yimo how he did it. However, Yimo did not answer. When they arrived at Guojiang's mining site, the miners who were mining were startled until they saw Ji Yujian and the others and understood. Guo Zhang may have lost. What? Boss Guo lost. If you lose, you lose. Whoever is the boss is not the boss, and the spiritual stones that should be handed over must still be handed over. Xiao Wen came to an open space, then set up a soundproof formation and called Yimo, Baihe and others in. Next, he poured out all the contents of Guo Yang's storage bag. Several people suddenly took a breath of cold air. There are 5,000 pieces of spiritual stones alone, as well as many spiritual talismans, spiritual weapons, and elixirs. It can be seen how much money Guo Zhang has plundered. If it hadn't been for Yimo this time, we might have died, so these resources should all belong to Yimo. Xiao Wen was also very excited about these things. But he knew that without Yimo, he would have died long ago. Boss Xiao, although I killed Guo Zhang, without your cooperation, I wouldn't have been able to kill him successfully. Let's do this. I'm not being hypocritical. We each have half of these things. Although Yimo needs these things very much, he also understands that if he really takes them all, everyone will be jealous and even isolate himself. In the end, Xiao Wen didn't refuse. However, he didn't take them all, but gave Baihe and Yishi a lot of spiritual stones. After dividing the things, Xiao Wen called Ji Yujian in. Ji Yujian, how many mines does Guo Zhang have now and how many miners are there to mine against his opponents? Xiao Wen asked. This is what he cares about most. 6, almost 100 miners. Ji Yujian replied. How many spiritual stones do each miner turn in every day? Xiao Wen then asked. $3. 3 spiritual stones a day, 100 miners, that's 300. Of course, Guo Zhang also had to help his 20 mid-stage Qi training subordinates hand over the spirit stones to Scar Lu. It takes almost 100 spirit stones every day. Moreover, several of Guo Yang's core subordinates, such as Ji Yujian, do not need to mine, and they must help them hand over the sect's spiritual stones. Calculated in this way, Guo Zhang gets spiritual stones every day, which is actually less than 100 yuan a day. Of course, 100 spiritual stones a day is definitely a huge amount of income for Xiao Wen. If it is stable, he can buy the spirit gathering pill every day to practice. Ji Yujian, tell me brother, it is the same as it was before, but I may not hand over the sect spirit stone, they need to mine it themselves. It was naturally impossible for Xiao Wen, Guo Yang's core subordinate before, to help them hand over the spirit stone. I want to help Yimo and Baihe. Understood. Ji Yujian didn't complain at all. Everyone named Guo Zhang was killed. Well, then you go down first. Xiao Wen waved his hand. Boss Xiao, brothers, let me ask you a question. Boss Guo Zhang planned to continue to expand externally. Now everyone wants to know whether it will proceed as planned. Territory expansion is naturally the best thing for Guo Yang's men. The territory is big enough, and they can get a share of the pie. There are already 6 sites, which should be enough. If there are too many, I'm afraid it will attract Scar Lu's attention. Baihe frowned. Scar Lu will naturally not see a situation where one family dominates. In this case, it may threaten his status. The more dispersed the power distribution, the more beneficial it is to him. It stands to reason that 6 territories are indeed enough, but Guanwei in the north has been expanding particularly fiercely recently. Guo Zhang was worried that if the expansion slowed down, Guanwei would become a threat to him in the future. Gu Jian had a worried look on his face. The reason why Guanwei expanded rapidly was because he formed an alliance with other forces. There are 3 people who are in the late stage of Qi training. When Guozhong expands his power, he also wants to form an alliance with other powers to fight against Guanwei together. This matter, Xiao Wen was a little hesitant. He knew that without strength in this mind, he would eventually become a target in others' eyes. But he has just secured his position and really has no plans to expand. But before he refused, he was interrupted by Yi Mo. Gu Jian, tell the brothers that the plan remains as before. Also, you can help me draw a distribution map of the entire Eastern District. Now that there are more than 20 middle stages of Qi training, it is not easy to annex several forces. As long as he cooperates well with Xiao Wen, it only takes a matter of minutes to kill the leader of the force and win the next force. Gu Jian looked at Yi Mo with some surprise, but did not reply, but looked at Xiao Wen. From beginning to end, he didn't know that Guozhong was secretly killed by Yi Mo. Do as Yi Mo said. Xiao Wen said. Okay. Gu Jian nodded and then withdrew. After Gu Jian left, Xiao Wen looked at Yi Mo. How confident is it to annex a power? As long as those powerful bosses are not prepared, there is at least 80% chance. Yi Mo replied. Okay, Yi Mo, I don't ask how you did it. From now on, every time you annex a force, we will divide the income in half. Xiao Wen decided to take a gamble. The only way to secure this position is to keep getting stronger. About half an hour later, Gu Jian came in with a drawing. Yi Mo watched carefully. The entire Eastern District is about the same size as the town of Blue Star, and Scarlu is in charge of the easternmost position. In addition, there is a big boss. His name is Sha Qi. This person has more than a dozen subordinates who are in the late stage of Qi training. There are actually not many people mining around, only 200 people. His main source of spiritual stones is Scarlu, who has to hand over a large amount of spiritual stones to him every month. In addition to these 2 big forces, the remaining small forces are scattered and have slightly higher ore production rates. Basically, monks in the late stage of Qi training are in charge. Yi Mo's current mine location is a bit north. The northernmost is Guanwei, an alliance of 3 forces. There is a force in the east that is almost the same as Xiao Wen now. In the west, the power is relatively weaker. Yi Mo thought for a moment and then proposed to expand westward. Without any further delay, let's take action now. Yi Mo stood up with a roar. AK was already extremely thirsty. In the next afternoon, Yi Mo destroyed 4 small forces. 500 spirit stones were obtained from these powerful men. There are several elixirs, talismans, and spiritual weapons. At this moment, there are as many as 30 monks in the middle stage of Qi training around him. 40 more miners were added. Now there is only 1 force left in the west, and the leader of the force is named Duan Chao. This person has nearly 20 mid-stage Qi training subordinates around him. Yi Mo originally wanted to kill him in one go, but it was almost 6 o'clock now and they had already gone to hand over the spirit stones. Yi Mo had no choice but to stop. Then Yi Mo and Xiao Wen took nearly 40 of their men and went to hand over the spirit stone. Arriving at the entrance of the mine, along the way, Yi Mo discovered that there were secret whistles at many passage entrances. If Yi Mo saw it correctly, these secret whistles should be Scarlu's people. Boss Xiao, what is the purpose of placing Scarlu and these people near the entrance of the mine? Yi Mo asked Xiao Wen curiously. I heard it was to arrest Zhang Wentao. Zhang Wentao is also a capable person. He has been hiding for almost a month. Scarlu can't find anyone else. Xiao Wen replied. Oh, I heard from Yi Shi before that Zhang Wentao betrayed Scarlu. Why would the good Zhang Wentao betray him? Yi Mo wasn't curious, he was just talking. Zhang Wentao had been killed by Yi Mo a long time ago. Scarlu had no choice but to go to the underworld if he wanted Zhang Wentao. It's not very clear, but there are rumors that Zhang Wentao swallowed a pill from Dao Scarlu. As for what pill it was, I don't know. Xiao Wen shook his head. Elixir. Yi Mo suddenly remembered the yellow pill he got in Zhang Wentao's storage bag. He still doesn't know what kind of pill it is. Thinking about it, Scarlu should be looking for this pill. It seems that this elixir is not simple. Yi Mo thought to himself. About 10 minutes later, it was Yimo's turn to hand over the spirit stone. Yimo habitually glanced at Lu Yan, the mine deacon who was meditating. Just when Yimo was about to look away, Lu Yan opened her eyes without warning and looked at Yimo for 3 seconds. Then she looked away and saw a man with a hideous scar on his face walking towards him. The man said something in Lu Yan's ear, but Yimo didn't dare to listen. After handing over the spirit stone, he immediately left the mine entrance. When they looked at each other just now, Yimo was a little distracted and felt an unprecedented throbbing. This was because he was in awe of the strong. Let him not dare to have any inappropriate thoughts. Deacon Lu, I want to see if Zhang Wentao has handed over the spirit stone. Scar Lu said cautiously. Lu Yan sighed softly and closed her eyes again. After leaving the mine, Yimo did not return to his wooden house, but came to Xiao Wen's home. Now everyone is discussing how to resolve the Duanchao issue tomorrow. Because 4 small forces were swept across today, the news about the sudden death of the leader of the forces may have spread out earlier. As long as Duanchao is not stupid, he will definitely take precautions. How about we wait first? According to the current trend, even if we kill Duanchao, we may not be able to occupy Duanchao's territory. He suggested. The eastern area, southeast, northwest, are all occupied by small forces, and each is balanced. If Yimo conquered Duanchao's territory, Scar Lu would not be able to sit idly by. I'm afraid that when the time comes, Scar Lu will arrange for others to take charge of Duanchao's mining area. You might even get a warning from Scar Lu. I agree, with our current power, if we go to occupy Duanchao's territory, Scar Lu will definitely take action. Gugn agreed. Can we expand to the south? First deal with some scattered forces in the south. I always feel that my strength is still a bit weak. If Guanwei takes action against us, we may not be able to resist it. Yi Shi said. The problem that exists now is that we are afraid that others will be on guard. Today we have swept through 4 forces. The people in the south are afraid that they will form an alliance. Once they are on guard, it will be a hard battle. Gugn was always worried. Mainly, he didn't know how Xiao Wen killed those bosses in the late stage of Qi training. He still can't figure it out until now. As if in the blink of an eye, a thick iron nail penetrated the opponent's brain. The power is no less powerful than earth thorns, wood thorns, and ice picks. The main reason is that there is no spiritual energy fluctuation, making it hard to guard against. Don't think so much. Let's deal with Duanchao first. As for his mining land, we don't need to occupy it. We just need to snatch his spirit stone. If Scar Lu arranges for other people, we will snatch it after a while, once. Yimo now wants to grab more spirit stones. If he collects 5,000 spirit stones, he can buy a holy spirit pill. No, doing this will only make us make too many enemies. Gugn immediately objected. Gugn, in our current situation, if we don't annex others, we will only be annexed by others in the future, so we can only continue to strengthen ourselves and arm ourselves so that we can survive. Yimo insisted on his opinion. That's what I said, I just think that expansion can be done slowly. Gugn still shook his head. Yimo no longer argued with him, but looked at Xiao Wen and said, Boss Xiao, I think we should take advantage of the victory and pursue the victory. At this moment, Duanchao, I guess, although he is alert, there shouldn't be much. This is what we want to do. His best time. Xiao Wen didn't say much. He finally made a decision, do as Yimo said. If Scar Lu sends people here, give him the territory. Duanchao has been in business for many years. I think he should have a lot of spiritual stones. If we capture him, we won't deficit. Yes, now that Xiao Wen has said so, Gugn and the others can't say anything more. October 30th, the last day of this month. Yimo and Xiao Wen led their men to Duanchao's mining area early in the morning. When Duanchao and his men arrived, they were surrounded by more than 40 people from Yimo. Duanchao did hear about it yesterday, so when he saw Xiao Wen, he directly played a golden light talisman. Brother Duan, don't be nervous. I am just seeking cooperation this time. Guanwei is eyeing me covetously. Brother Duan, are you interested in forming an alliance with me? Seeing Duanchao being so vigilant, Xiao Wen secretly thought it was a pity. No, Xiao Wen, I advise you to return to your territory now, otherwise, you will fight to the death today. Duan Chao said without hesitation. Although his overall strength is weaker than Xiao Wen now, this is his own territory and he is really not afraid of Xiao Wen. Then there's nothing to talk about, okay, let's do it. Xiao Wen didn't say anything and directly issued the order. The next second, more than 40 fire bomb talismans that had been prepared were all thrown towards Duan Chao. Duan Chao's expression changed slightly, and then he immediately retreated. Most of the more than 40 talismans were avoided by him, and only a few hit them. Duan Chao was not hurt in any way. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy and he shouted loudly, "Fight them! The war is about to break out." There were about 40 people on Yi Mo's side and only about 20 on Duan Chao's side. This was originally a battle without any suspense. But I didn't expect that Duan Chao's men were extremely ferocious, but the people on Yi Mo's side did not use their full strength, and most of them were paddling. They thought to themselves that the battle would be over after Duan Chao was solved. What's more, these people have just followed Xiao Wen, so naturally they won't fight for Xiao Wen. This also led to Xiao Wen never breaking through Duan Chao's defense. Yi Mo didn't find this opportunity to make a move. Moreover, it was difficult for Yi Mo to aim during the battle. The battlefield suddenly fell into a stalemate. Yi Mo knew that this would not work, so he suddenly shouted to Xiao Wen, "Boss Xiao, since these people want to die, then kill them all." Duan Chao has no way to kill him now, but his men can still defeat them one by one. Xiao Wen also realized the problem, so he decisively abandoned Duan Chao and led Bai He and others to attack the miners on the periphery. Since Xiao Wen personally took the lead, a miner who was in the middle of Qi training was quickly killed. Duan Chao saw this situation, but he did not dare to take action easily because he had been worried that someone was secretly doing it. His consciousness stretched almost all the way to observe all Xiao Wen's men. Yi Mo also felt that divine consciousness swept over him from time to time. This also makes Yi Mo dare not act rashly. Once people find out that he is doing it secretly, these people are afraid that they will be the first to kill him. Failed. Although Xiao Wen killed some miners, there were also casualties on his side. If this continues, the gains outweigh the losses. Moreover, this is Duan Chao's territory, and there are many miners who are in the early stage of Qi training. Although they generally do not participate in the war, if there are too many casualties on their side, Duan Chao will inevitably take action if Duan Chao makes some promises to them. When it is broken, it is broken. Yi Mo immediately suggested to Xiao Wen and issued the order to retreat. As soon as Xiao Wen saw that people like him didn't want to fight at all, he had no choice but to issue an order to retreat. Soon, everyone returned to their mines. Xiao Wen looked very unhappy. Maybe yesterday was so smooth that he didn't expect that today would be so embarrassing. In fact, from the discussion yesterday about whether to take action against Duan Chao, Xiao Wen could also see some signs that his subordinates did not intend to use their full strength. Xiao Wen didn't say much to them. If he said too much, it would only arouse rebellion. Within the formation, Yi Mo, what should we do next? Xiao Wen asked in a deep voice. Now everyone is distraught and can only wait any longer. What we have to do now is to always pay attention to the movements of other forces, as well as the small forces in the south. What is their current situation and whether they have formed an alliance? Failure is common for military strategists, but Yi Mo has nothing to do with it. Zhou Ruolin should give birth within 4 days at the latest. When Qi training is complete, Yi Mo won't have so many worries. It seems like this is the only way to go for now. Xiao Wen nodded. Now that he couldn't get the spirit stones, Yi Mo was not idle. He picked up the spirit hoe and started digging. Although Xiao Wen would hand over the spirit stones for him, he could dig some. In the evening, it was time to hand in the spirit stone again. This time Yi Mo didn't dare to stare at Lu Yan, and left in a hurry after handing over the spirit stone. What Yi Mo didn't know was that as soon as he turned around, Lu Yan opened her eyes slightly, glanced at Yi Mo, and then immediately looked away. Not long after, Scar Lu arrived again. He asked Lu Yan for instructions, and checked the account books that counted the spirit stones, but Zhang Wentao still didn't come to hand over the spirit stones. Scar Lu walked away with a gloomy expression. Near the mine mouth. Don't worry, Knife head, it's still early, Zhang Wentao will show up sooner or later. Now is the last day. Now Zhang Wentao has only two options, one is to send someone to hand over the spirit stone, the other is to come in person. There is no third way, otherwise Lu Yan would go to the mine in person to find Zhang Wentao. What I'm worried about now is that Zhang Wentao will give the elixir directly to Deacon Lu in order to survive. Scar Lu frowned. Don't worry, Deacon Lu doesn't need the violent pill. If he wanted to give it away, Zhang Wentao would have given it away long ago. Hong Yang said with relief. I hope so. The time soon reached early morning, but Zhang Wentao still did not show up. Scar Lu had a bad feeling. Logically speaking, no one dares not to hand over the spirit stone, unless there is indeed no spirit stone on him. But you also need to report to the mine manager in advance. Deliberately failing to hand over the spirit stone would be a capital offense if caught. Hong Yang, Zheng Shi, you stay here tonight, wait for Deacon Lu to arrive tomorrow, and go with her to find Zhang Wentao. Zhang Wentao has not appeared for a long time. What Scar Lu is most worried about is that Zhang Wentao is already dead. If this is really the case, then I'm afraid he will never be able to get his elixir back. Yes, Hong Yang and others nodded immediately. October 1st. Yi Mo mined as usual. Lu Yan came to the mine entrance and began to ask who had not handed over the spirit stone. There are quite a few people. Because people die every day in the mines. Lu Yan then entered the mine and investigated one by one. Lu Yan's consciousness can extend for more than 10 miles. Of course, in order to prevent someone from using the invisibility charm, she does not have anyone to extend her consciousness completely. Instead, he explored the past mile by mile. At this time, Hong Yang and Zheng Shi, with many miners, followed Lu Yan closely. Lu Yan ignored them. An hour later, the entire mine was inspected. Lu Yan only found one person who had not handed over the spirit stone, and it was still in the early stages. Lu Yan beheaded him on the spot. Later, she found the boss of the miner. Coincidentally, this boss is none other than Xiao Wen. Those of you who are the bosses should also pay attention to your subordinates to see if they have turned in the spirit stones. Don't always wait for me to look for them. Lu Yan didn't have much expression on her face and her voice was cold. Yes, I will definitely pay attention next time. Xiao Wen nodded immediately. Lu Yan hummed slightly, then turned around and left. But after taking 2 steps, she suddenly turned around and looked at Yi Mo. What's your name? Me, my name is Yi Mo. Yi Mo was stunned and pointed at himself. What's going on? Hey, is it because of the charm value? No, it's only a dozen points added, so the charm shouldn't be that strong, right? Yi Mo, Lu Yan murmured, and then left without looking back. Scar Lu's base camp, because not even Lu Yan found Zhang Wentao. Then there is only one situation, Zhang Wentao is dead. Who killed Zhang Wentao? Scar Lu almost roared, the murderous look on his face was undisguised, and the aura of violence filled the mine. His men lowered their heads and did not dare to speak. Even Hong Yang is like this. Hong Yang, I don't care what method you use to find out who killed Zhang Wentao, I will eat him alive. Knife head, it's actually not difficult to find this person. Taking the violent spirit pill will increase your cultivation level dramatically. We just need to find someone whose cultivation level has suddenly increased during this period. Hong Yang said immediately. Then go quickly. Hong Yang and Zheng Shi immediately left the mine with dozens of people. On the channel, Zheng Shi looked sad. Brother Hong, if you can kill Zhang Wentao, I'm afraid this person's cultivation level is not low, so he probably won't take the explosive spirit pill. Zheng Shi had no hope of finding out who killed Zhang Wentao. The explosive spirit pill can increase Qi training, but if it can kill Zhang Wentao, I am afraid that it is already in the late stage of Qi training, or even perfect, so there is no need to take the explosive spirit pill. No, but the explosive spirit pill is an extremely noble pill. If he doesn't take it, he might sell it to others. So as long as we find someone with abnormal cultivation, we may find the real murderer. Hong Yang replied, this will waste a lot of time. If the other party still hides his cultivation, then don't we have to investigate one by one? Zheng Shi had a headache just thinking about it. But it was impossible not to look for it. Scar Lu was now completely furious. I have no choice but to take my time. In the next few days, Hong Yang and Zheng Shi, with their men, checked almost all the miners in the mine. But the suspect was never found. However, their exploration did not stop, just in case the other party had not taken the pill yet. And this is their only way. 3 days later, on October 3rd, in the afternoon. Duanchao mining area. The last battle with Xiao Wen was even though Xiao Wen was defeated in the end. But Duanchao has always been a little uneasy. He feels that Xiao Wen will call sooner or later. Boss, Xiao Wen's men are just a bunch of rabble, you don't have to worry too much. One of Duanchao's men said that this person's name is Zhao Dao. He was indeed a little scared at first, but after the battle with Xiao Wen, he felt that it was exaggerated. Having said that, I am still a little uneasy because Xiao Wen's secret person has not been found. Duanchao didn't pay too much attention to Xiao Wen, mainly because of the elusive, thick nail. If he doesn't find out who did it, he will never be able to let go. Boss, I heard that several small forces in the south have formed an alliance. How about we cooperate with them and completely eliminate Xiao Wen? Xiao Wen eliminated 4 small forces in one afternoon. In order to prevent Xiao Wen, some other forces had to huddle together to keep warm. How many people are there in total? Duanchao asked immediately. 16 in the middle stage of Qi training, and 2 in the late stage of Qi training, they seem to be named Cao Qing and Quan Jumping. The subordinate replied. The number of people is enough. Okay, you go talk to them now. If they agree, we will take away Xiao Wen's mining land directly. Okay, I'll go right away. Zhao Dao nodded, and then left the mine with a few people. An hour later, Zhao Dao hurried over. Boss, Cao Qing and Quan Jumping agreed, but they have a condition. After Xiao Wen is eliminated, they will take control of Xiao Wen's mining land. Zhao Dao said excitedly as soon as he arrived. With Cao Qing and Quan Jumping joining in, it will be easy to destroy Xiao Wen. Xiao Wen's mine is not big, so give it to them. Have you set a time? Duanchao finally showed a smile. Tomorrow morning, Cixi. It's almost time to hand in the spirit stone, so we can only wait until tomorrow. Good. October 4th, 8 o'clock in the morning. Since yesterday, Yi Mo has been restless and absent-minded. Because Zhou Ruolin is very likely to give birth to a child today. This is his first child, so some nervousness is inevitable. At this moment, Xiao Wen was also a little restless. Because he always felt something unusual today. About half an hour later, Yi Shi hurried over with several of his men. Boss Xiao, something is wrong. Duanchao took all their people and left the mine. It seems they came to us. Moreover, Cao Qing and Quan Jumping also left the mine. Yi Shi's face was obviously anxious. Needless to say, these people must have reached a consensus and want to do something to themselves. How many people are there in Cao Qing and the others? Xiao Wen asked immediately. They should all come out, at least 15 people. Yi Shi replied. The 2 teams totaled almost 40 people. But this is not the key. The key is Cao Qing and Quan Jumping. Both of them are in the late stage of Qi training. If they add Duanchao. When the 3 of them were in the late stage of Qi training and their numbers were almost the same, there was no way they could defeat them. The scene fell into silence. At this moment, another thought appeared in their minds. Escape, get out of here. If you really leave, all your previous efforts will be in vain. Yi Mo. Xiao Wen turned to look at Yi Mo. He seemed to place all his hopes on Yi Mo. However, Yi Mo didn't reply and even closed his eyes. I have long said not to provoke Duanchao, as this will only attract more enemies to us. Ji Yujian's gloomy face. Until now, he didn't know that the person in the dark was Yi Mo. He just suspected that it was someone from Baihei. He thought it was Xiao Wu more. After all, Xiao Wu was Xiao Wen's younger brother. What's the use of talking about this now? Everyone, if you want to leave, do it before Duanchao and the others come. If you want to leave, hurry up. Seeing Yi Mo's lack of response, Xiao Wen knew that the mine would not be able to bear it this time. The main reason is that everyone is in unison and it is unrealistic to resist Duanchao. Everyone looked at me and I looked at you. In the end, Ji Yujian took the lead in leaving the mine, and then nearly half of the people left. Even many miners who were engaged in mining have left most of them out of fear of harming Qiu. Let's go. Xiao Wen glanced at Bai He and the others and waved helplessly. He glanced at the mine with a trace of reluctance. Yi Mo slowly opened his eyes. He knew that the situation was over and there was no point in staying here. Finally he got up and followed Xiao Wen. However, just when they were about to walk to the mine tunnel, they saw Ji Yujian leading dozens of people back in a hurry. What's going on? Xiao Wen's face changed, and his heart suddenly thumped. It's the people from Guanwei. They can't stop our way. Ji Yujian's face turned a little pale. The people from Guanwei in the north and the people from Duanchao and Shaoqing in the south are also coming, and they have no way to go. Did Guanwei come in person? Xiao Wen's voice was trembling. No, it was his subordinate Wu Yuan who brought a total of 30 people. Ji Yujian said immediately. Only Wu Yuan, come on, let's break out from the north. Xiao Wen didn't dare to think too much. Once Duanchao and the others arrived, there would be no possibility of rushing out. After speaking, Xiao Wen looked at Yi Mo again. Yi Mo nodded to him, this time he had to give it a try. 2 minutes later, the two teams met. Without another word, the battle started directly. After a round of fire bullets and spells, Yi Mo didn't hold back, he took out his AK and started shooting. Some miners who did not have golden light talisman were hit instantly, and some were even hit in the head, killing them on the spot. It turns out it's you. Very good. Catch him immediately and keep him alive. Although AK was marked with an invisibility charm, Wu Yuan used his spiritual consciousness to see the iron lump in Yi Mo's hand. He immediately ordered a dozen miners to quickly attack Yi Mo. Brothers, if you want to live, stop them. Xiao Wen shouted. He made a seal with both hands, and the spiritual weapon sword quickly shot towards the crowd. The power of the spiritual weapon sword was still very powerful. The leaders were immediately blocked. At the same time, Bai He and others also rushed over. Block Yi Mo behind him. At this time, Ji Yujian and the others finally knew that Yi Mo was the man in the dark. He led several people to come over without hesitation and fought with more than a dozen of Wu Yuan's men. Yi Mo was behind him. He seized the opportunity and immediately fired at miners with weak defenses when he saw them. Originally, there were more people on Yi Mo's side, but the battle soon became one-sided. Looking for death. Wu Yuan's face was stunned, and he rushed directly into the battlefield with a big sword in his hand. Your opponent is me. Xiao Wen had been guarding against Wu Yuan. When he saw Wu Yuan joining the battlefield, he immediately withdrew his spiritual sword and went towards Wu Yuan. As time went by, Yi Mo changed several magazines, and more miners died in his hands. However, Wu Yuan had no intention of retreating because he knew that Duanchao and the others would arrive soon. Xiao Wen will undoubtedly die by then. Xiao Wen naturally knew Wu Yuan's intention. I was also anxious in my heart. And because Wu Yuan and his men had no intention of backing down. Xiao Wen's men were obviously a little timid. If this continues, I may have to explain this here today. Yi Mo was equally anxious. His heart skipped a beat and he shouted to Ji Yujian, Bai He, cover me. After saying that, Yi Mo rushed out of the crowd. The light body technique was activated, and the two AKs were replaced by machine guns. As he ran, his machine gun was aimed at Wu Yuan, who was fighting Xiao Wen. Puff puff puff. Countless bullets fell in front of Wu Yuan. The golden light talisman on Wu Yuan is obviously much darker. Xiao Wen's eyes lit up, and the spiritual energy in his body crazily poured into the sword, slashing hard at Wu Yuan. Boom! Wu Yuan took a few steps back. However, before he could stand firm, countless bullets came like a downpour. Can't stop it. Wu Yuan was startled and immediately used his body skills to avoid the bullets like a ghost. Then he immediately removed the golden light talisman and played another one. Moreover, his speed did not slow down at all, and he actually attacked Yi Mo quickly. Be careful, Xiao Wen shouted. However, it was too late. Wu Yuan struck at the running Yi Mo with a knife. The huge blade was like a crescent moon, and Yi Mo could not avoid it. Pong! The golden light talisman on Yi Mo's body cracked instantly like a golden eggshell. Puff! The blade instantly left a deep cut on Yi Mo's body. Blood instantly filled the mining suit. Yi Mo didn't have time to check, but with a thought, the golden light talisman in the space instantly stuck to his chest. Wu Yuan rushed toward him with two machine guns pointed at him. It's a pity that all the bullets were blocked by Wu Yuan's sword. Death. Wu Yuan stood in the air, holding the handle of the knife with both hands, ignoring the bullets from the machine gun, and slashed from top to bottom. The sword light, which was more than 10 meters long, seemed to split the void. Yi Mo's eyes suddenly opened wide, and time and space were slowing down at this moment. Yi Mo looked at the huge sword light, like the sickle of death. Are you going to die? Yi Mo seemed to have given up resistance. At this moment, Wu Yuan's spiritual weapon sword, like an arrow from the string, instantly hit Wu Yuan's sword. It was this blow that caused the blade of the sword to deviate by a few centimeters when it was cut off. Boom! Next to Yi Mo, a knife gully dozens of centimeters deep suddenly appeared. If this knife was hit, Yi Mo would definitely die. Yi Mo immediately got up and fired wildly with the machine gun in his hand. Because the machine gun was extremely fast, Wu Yuan did not dare to carry it all the time and could only dodge, which also gave Yi Mo a chance to escape. You can't escape. One hit missed. Wu Yuan was also a little annoyed. He slapped the storage bag and the sword disappeared, but a silver longbow appeared in his hand. The longbow exudes silver light, and there are 3 clearly visible grooves on the bow body. If you look carefully, there are thin cracks scattered around these grooves. High-grade spiritual weapon, Yi Mo, flash. Xiao Wen's face was startled, and he immediately controlled the spiritual weapon sword and fired towards Wu Yuan. However, Wu Yuan's men were well prepared and cast spells one after another to stop the spiritual sword. Boo hoo hoo. Wu Yuan quickly drew his long bow, and 3 spiritual arrows suddenly appeared on the bowstring. Shoot towards the running Yi Mo. Puff puff puff. Yi Mo could barely avoid it. However, soon, 3 more spiritual energy arrows were shot. And these 3 spiritual energy arrows have completely blocked Yi Mo's path. He could only quickly twist his body to avoid being hit in vital parts. Puff puff puff. Yi Mo's left shoulder and right leg were instantly penetrated by spiritual energy arrows. Golden-like talisman is also lackluster. Excruciating pain invades the brain. And his figure also became extremely slow. I really failed this time. Alas, failure is the norm, but I'm afraid I won't have another chance in the future. Seeing the scene in front of him, Xiao Wen suddenly felt sad in his heart. Ever since Yi Mo killed Guo Zhang, he had dreamed that maybe this time would be different. Maybe I can really survive in this mine this time. Maybe we can even build a foundation in the future. Yes, he dreamed of building a foundation last night. But a dream is a dream after all, and it's time to wake up now. It's just that I'm so unwilling. Xiao Wen really wanted to roar loudly, but it was of no use. It was just an incompetent roar. He stared at Yi Mo, when another spiritual energy arrow passed through his back shoulder. Pong! Yi Mo could no longer support himself and his body slowly fell. At this moment, not only was his body seriously injured, but there was not much spiritual energy left in his body. It was almost impossible to escape. Xiao Wen immediately stopped by he and the others. There was no point in continuing to resist now. But what Xiao Wen didn't know was, at the moment Yi Mo fell, the system's voice finally sounded in Yi Mo's mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully giving birth to a green spirit heir. The reward will be twice the cultivation level and 2 years of life. Closing square bracket. Yi Mo, who had already accepted his fate, was immediately overjoyed. He immediately summoned the system panel. Host, Yi Mo. Kung Fu, Evergreen Kung Fu. Realm, middle stage of Qi training. Spiritual power value, 20/30. Spells, Fireball technique beginner, Light body technique beginner, Quicksand technique not beginner, Luo Yubu not beginner. Cultivation increase, 2 times 20 plus 40. Lifespan, 2 years excluding the lifespan of the host itself. 1 hit, 1 time refresh at 0 point, charge for half an hour before activation. Yi Mo didn't hesitate and added all 2 years of lifespan to the firebomb technique. Almost instantly, the firebomb technique reached the realm of great accomplishment. And it only took 23 months, 1 more month. Later, he added the remaining month to Luo Yubu, but unfortunately, Luo Yubu still didn't get started. I said you can't escape. Now I'm very curious, what is that iron lump of yours? Xiao Wen had given up resistance at this time, and Ji Yujian and the others also stopped attacking. Wu Yuan sneered again and strode towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo stood up with difficulty. Blood slowly flowed from the mouth. The face is pale and colorless. He looked at Wu Yuan, who was walking towards him, threw away the machine gun in his hand, and said, "This is the Russian MJ-46 light machine gun. It is a light machine gun developed based on the AKM. It has a caliber of 7.62 mm and does not require the use of aura. Mortals can also use it." "What?" Wu Yuan picked up the machine gun and said subconsciously. Chapter 71. What? Wu Yuan picked up the machine gun and said subconsciously. Yi Mo ignored him, knowing that his opportunity had come. He had deliberately said something Wu Yuan couldn't understand before, so that Wu Yuan would fall into thinking for a moment. Yi Mo immediately circulated his spiritual energy, and almost in the blink of an eye, a fireball the size of a football appeared in his hand. At this time, Wu Yuan also felt the fluctuation of spiritual energy, but it was too late. The two were only a few meters apart. Yi Mo slammed the fireball towards Wu Yuan. Wu Yuan could not avoid the huge fireball with its blazing heat. He could only watch the fireball hit him. Boom! The fireball had no obstruction and instantly broke through Wu Yuan's golden light talisman. Phew! Ah! Wu Yuan screamed, and his entire chest was quickly swallowed by the fireball. This is impossible, this is impossible, he is obviously in the middle stage of Qi training. This was the only thought in Wu Yuan's mind before he died. Yi Mo was obviously injured. Why can he still cast such a powerful fireball? In fact, he had been guarding against Yi Mo's stubborn resistance, so when the fireball came over, Wu Yuan was not worried, but he soon discovered that something was wrong. This fireball was definitely not something that a mid-stage Qi training monk could cast. Wu Yuan died with eyes closed, and everyone seemed to be stunned by this scene. Even Xiao Wen was stunned on the spot. Yi Mo immediately moved forward, took off Wu Yuan's storage bag, and immediately shouted to Xiao Wen, "Boss Xiao, don't let them escape. These people know their own machine guns. Only by killing them all can they hide in the dark." Xiao Wen finally reacted. The battle continues. Yi Mo poured out all the storage bags in Wu Yuan. There were many things, and put them all into the space, leaving only a silver longbow, which he immediately engraved with the mark of spiritual consciousness. With the mark engraved on it, the silver bow seems to be integrated with the body. Yi Mo took out another spiritual weapon sword, jumped up and stood on the sword, with the bowstring fully drawn, 3 spiritual energy arrows appeared instantly. Boo hoo hoo. With every arrow shot, almost one miner fell down. Yi Mo is now at the point where he has perfected his Qi training, and the power of his spiritual energy arrows is even more powerful than Wu Yuan's. However, when shooting the spiritual energy arrow, Yi Mo felt that this high-grade spiritual weapon was much weaker than he thought. Then he thought that the grooves on the bow should be inlaid with spiritual stones. So Yi Mo immediately took out the spirit stone, but soon he discovered that there were cracks around the groove, making it impossible to absorb the spirit stone. Defective product. Yi Mo secretly thought it was a pity. No wonder Wu Yuan didn't inlay the spirit stone when he used it. No wonder the power is much weaker. Of course, it is still possible to deal with some mid-term monks with one arrow. Soon a large number of miners fell. Seeing this scene, Wu Yuan's men fled frantically. However, it was all in vain. Under the encirclement of Yi Mo and Xiao Wen, all 30 people brought by Wu Yuan were quickly wiped out. Quickly, take this elixir. Xiao Wen did not ask why Yi Mo was in the late stage of Qi training, but immediately took out a healing elixir. This was just an ordinary healing elixir, but for Yi Mo now Mo's injury is still somewhat helpful. The previous arrow wound in the lower abdomen of the elixir quickly stopped. Duan Chao's people are coming soon, Boss Xiao. We have a fierce battle ahead. Yi Mo looked at the battlefield and saw that almost half of their people were dead or injured. Can you still fight? Xiao Wen's eyes flashed. It is rare for Yi Mo to suddenly show his strength in the late stage of Qi training. It is usually caused by using some kind of secret method or some kind of elixir that increases his cultivation level, but it usually shouldn't last long. Of course, this time we can catch Duan Chao and others in one fell swoop. Yi Mo said coldly. Duan Chao must die, otherwise if Guan Wei receives the news and comes to kill them, they will be in trouble again. Ji Yu Jian, Bai He, Yi Shi, come here. Yi Mo waved to the 3 of them, then took out 2 AKs and a machine gun and handed them to them. Anyway, now that the gun is known to everyone, there is no need for Yimo to hide it. He briefly taught the three of them how to shoot and gave them enough bullets. Immortal cultivators are very easy to master firearms, and it didn't take long for the three of them to basically use them. Yimo, it was me who was wrong before, but I will listen to you from now on. Gugn held a machine gun and said sincerely. He tried the power of the machine gun. It is definitely a sharp weapon. The most important thing is that it can be used without spiritual energy. It can definitely have an assassination effect without knowing it. It's okay, we will just follow Boss Xiao from now on. Yimo waved his hand. Then he looked in the south direction, with a strong murderous look in his eyes. Boss Xiao, instead of waiting here for them to arrive, why don't we take the lead in attacking? That's exactly what I meant. Xiao Wen was also full of fighting spirit at this moment. He held the spiritual weapon sword in his hand, pointed the sword south, and shouted angrily, "Brothers, kill with me." At this time, Xiao and others were not far from Xiao Wen's mine. They did not enter Xiao Wen's mine immediately, but asked people to go explore it first. The investigators quickly came to report that Xiao Wen had left. They should have been stopped by Wu Yuan and the others. Let's go, we will go immediately. Duan Chao thought about it last night and decided to cooperate with Guan Wai, mainly to prevent Xiao Wen from escaping. Now that he heard that Xiao Wen had left, he was glad for his decision. With a wave of his hand, nearly 40 people immediately ran north. Soon, they met Xiao Wen. When Duan Chao saw Xiao Wen, he thought they were running away. So he immediately said loudly, "Gugn, you were Guo Yang's men before. Now surrender, I guarantee that you will be safe and sound." Gugn and the others had just experienced a big battle and looked a little embarrassed. This also made Duan Chao and others mistakenly believe that they were being hunted by Wu Yuan. However, the strange thing is that Gugn did not answer and Xiao Wen did not answer him. Everyone rushed towards them without changing their speed at all. In the crowd, a silver bow suddenly appeared in Yimo's hand. As he ran, he fully drew the bowstring and shot 3 spiritual energy arrows towards Duan Chao. Isn't this Wu Yuan's bow? Duan Chao was stunned and had no idea what was going on. He didn't even know Yimo. He dodges almost instinctively, and at the same time, immediately hits the golden light talisman. Boo hoo hoo. 3 more spiritual energy arrows. At the same time, Yi Shi and Bai He, who were beside Yimo, slapped their storage bags, and an AK appeared in their hands. Da da da. Bullets poured out. Duan Chao had no way to avoid it and was hit instantly. However, it did not hit the vital point, but the speed of the broken bridge became much slower. Yimo seized the opportunity and condensed 3 spiritual energy arrows again. Puff puff puff. A spiritual arrow instantly penetrated Duan Chao's brain. The same scene was also played out by Xiao Wen. He first controlled the spiritual weapon sword and broke through Cao Qing's defense, while the ancient sword stood aside and fired wildly. Cao Qing was beaten into a hornet's nest on the spot. Quan Zhongping, who was left, saw this scene and instinctively wanted to run away. But at this time, Yimo and Xiao Wen locked onto him at the same time. "We submit," Quan Zhongping shouted immediately. "This is what Yimo wants. If all these people were killed, too many people would die today." Yimo was also worried whether the sect would have any objections. Moreover, Duan Chao's mining land also needs someone to take charge, and the provincial Dao Scar Lu Hang will step in. Quan Zhongping can just help them take over Duan Chao's mining land. The war ended here. The next step is to sort out the loot. Wu Yuan doesn't have many spiritual stones, after all, he is not the boss. Including the 30 subordinates he brought, the total is only 4,000 spirit stones. The highlight is Duan Chao. This person has been the boss for over a year. There are more than 100 miners working on it. The number of spiritual stones on his body reached more than 10,000. Plus the spiritual stones from Cao Qing and others. Today's harvest alone reached 16,000 pieces of spiritual stones. Several spiritual weapons, magical talismans, and elixirs. In the end, Yimo took 6,000 spiritual stones, Wu Yuan's silver bow, many spiritual talismans, and pills. Next, everyone began to discuss future plans. After Wu Yuan's death, Guan Wai's power was reduced by half and would not pose a threat to Yimo for the time being. The most important thing now is the Duanchao mining area. This is a piece of fat, and Imo naturally doesn't want to give it up. It just depends on who is in charge, and everyone's opinions cannot be unified. Let Quan Zhongping go. Xiao Wen is afraid that he will have second thoughts, and if he forms an alliance with other forces, it will be another troublesome matter. Let your men go, but they are all in the middle stage of Qi training. I am afraid that some monks in the late stage of Qi training will also keep an eye on this mine. Scarlu would even intervene directly and send someone to take over. Yi Mo doesn't have many worries. From today on, his strength will grow rapidly. In less than 10 days, Cheng Ying and Yang Xiqi will have a child. By then, his cultivation will be close to that of foundation building. Although it is not a true foundation building, killing some late-stage Qi training is not much more difficult than killing chickens. Boss Xiao, I think it is better to let Quan Zhongping take charge and stabilize it for a while. As for whether he will rebel, with our current power, we are really not afraid of the alliance of some forces. Yi Mo suggested. Now Yi Mo really doesn't have to worry about other forces besides Scar Lu. It seems like this is the only way to go. Xiao Wen nodded. Xiao Wen then found Quan Zhongping and asked him to go to Duanchao's mine. Quan Zhongping was naturally excited. This should mean that surviving a catastrophe will lead to good fortune. He never dreamed that he would pick up a piece of mining land out of nowhere. Of course, the income from the mine is not his own, but he is still considered a big boss. Finally, Quan Zhongping took more than a dozen mid-stage Qi practitioners to Duanchao's mine. There are some small mining areas in the south, and Xiao Wen asked Ji Yujian and the others to guard them. Although the mining areas are small, they are still a source of income. After everything was arranged, Yi Mo began to practice and recover from his injuries. As time went by, their battle soon spread in the mine. Xiao Wen's name was also known to people in the mine for the first time. As the number one force in the East District, Hong Yang also received the news immediately. At first, he didn't pay too much attention to it, it was just some small forces competing for territory. Not only would Scar Lu not intervene in the battle for territory, but he would also support it with both hands, because this could also eliminate some monks in the late stage of Qi training. There is no harm to him. Hong Yang also knew about Xiao Wen. He had broken through the late stage of Qi training 10 years ago, so it was not within the scope of his investigation. But Hong Yang soon realized that Xiao Wen had been defeated by Guozhong and driven out of the mine, so why was he suddenly back now? And also defeated the invasion of other forces. Because Xiao Wenai was the absolute protagonist of the whole incident, and all of Wu Yuan's men were dead, so no one knew about Yi Mo at all. Moreover, not many people knew about Yi Mo, so there was no such person as Yi Mo in the spread of the incident. The most bizarre rumor is that Xiao Wen has obtained several spiritual weapons that can kill people invisible. It was precisely because of these spiritual weapons that defeat was turned into victory. It's definitely not that simple. Zhengxi, let's go to Xiao Wen mine. Hong Yang felt that it would be impossible for Xiao Wen alone to resist Duanchao and Wu Yuan's attack. So he and Zhengxi took a few men and prepared to go to Xiao Wen mine to investigate. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the mine. Xiao Wen was obviously a little nervous when he saw Hong Yang. He thought Hong Yang wanted to ask for Duanchao's mining land. But what I didn't expect was that Hong Yang didn't mention anything about the mining area. Instead, he looked at each of his men, as if they were looking for someone. Hong Yang didn't speak, and Xiao Wen didn't dare to ask. Half an hour later, Hong Yang and Zhengxi checked everyone in Xiao Wen, but still did not find anyone suspicious. That doesn't make sense. Hong Yang frowned, then looked at Xiao Wen and asked, Boss Xiao, I'm curious, how did you defeat Wu Yuan and Duanchao when they were attacked from both sides? We defeated them one by one. We first dealt with Wu Yuan. When Duanchao and the others arrived, we took them by surprise and then killed Duanchao. Xiao Wen replied immediately. Is it that simple? As far as I know, there are 3 late-stage Qi practitioners on Duanchao's side. Oh, I heard that you have a few spiritual weapons that can kill people invisible. Can you show them to me? Hong Yang was not interested in any spiritual weapon, but mainly to test whether Xiao Wen was lying. It's all exaggeration. There is no magical weapon that can kill people invisible. It's just a few golden needle charms. They have all been used up in the previous battle. Xiao Wen said without thinking. This was also the rhetoric he had thought up early in the morning. Golden needle charms are rare in the mines and are very expensive. Many people have never seen them. Yeah, Hong Yong did not continue to ask about the spiritual weapon. It was not his focus. He looked at Xiao Wen's men again and found that there was indeed no suspicious person. In the end, I had no choice but to leave. Before leaving, he glanced at Yi Mo. The last time he saw Yi Mo had already broken through the midterm, and it seemed that he had just broken through not long ago, so it should be a normal breakthrough. If you have taken Bowlington, you will definitely have broken through the late stage of Qi training. So he had no doubts about Yi Mo. However, after leaving Xiaowen Mine, Hong Yong always felt that something was wrong. Because he still felt it was too simple. Let's go to Duanchao's mining area and ask Quan Jumping. I want to know the whole process of their battle. Without clarifying the matter, Hong Yong always felt that there was something in his heart that he hadn't let go of, so he took Zheng Shi and the others directly to Duanchao's mining site. When he saw Quan Jumping, he immediately asked about the situation and asked him not to miss any details. Boss Hong, I don't know how Xiao Wen defeated Wu Yuan. When we arrived, Xiao Wen and his men killed Duanchao and Cao Qing in less than 5 breaths. Seeing in this case, I can only surrender. Quan Jumping said cautiously. Which subordinates were there and how did they take action? Hong Yong asked. There are many people taking action. I don't know the specific names of these people. They hold a handful of iron nails in their hands and can quickly launch thick nails, one after another. They are very powerful and do not have any spiritual energy fluctuations. Quan Jumping didn't dare to hide anything and told the truth. Are there any more? Zheng Shi said impatiently. He had already heard about the thick nails. Also, oh, by the way, there is one person who should be using Wu Yuan's silver bow. The power of the shot is not weak. One arrow broke through the golden light talisman on Duanchao's body. Who? Upon hearing this, Hong Yong's eyes suddenly flashed with a bright light. I don't know what it's called specifically, but it's strange to say that this person looks like he's only in the middle stage of Qi training, but the power of the spiritual energy arrows he shoots is no less powerful than in the late stage of Qi training. Quan Jumping was also very curious about Yi Mo. He even investigated Yi Mo carefully. But no matter how you look at it, Yi Mo is in the middle stage of Qi training. Draw me what he looks like. Hong Yong was obviously a little excited and immediately found paper and pen from his storage bag. Although he has already investigated Xiao Wen's actions before, there is a kind of magic that can hide one's cultivation level, such as Qi condensation technique. If this person knows the Qi condensation technique, he really can't tell. Unless you use the Sky Eye technique. But the Sky Eye technique is a useless magic in the mines, and no one will practice it at all. Good. Quan Jumping naturally didn't know Hong Yong's intention, so he quickly drew Yi Mo's appearance. This, isn't it right? How could it be Yi Mo? Zheng Shi looked confused. He thought it would be Xiao Wen's younger brother, Xiao Wu. Because no matter who you buy the violent spirit pill from, or directly kill Zhang Wentao and get the violent spirit pill from him, you can't compete with Yi Mo. Speaking of Xiao Wen is somewhat flattered. Zheng Shi, go back to the mining area immediately, gather people, and surround Xiao Wen's mining area for me. Hong Yong didn't think so much. No matter if it's Yi Mo or not. This time he will cut off Yi Mo's head and give it to Scar Lu. Good. Zheng Shi nodded and immediately went to his mine. Hong Yong took several of his men and returned to Xiao Wen's mine again. Xiao Wen was relieved when he saw Hong Yong leaving. Of course, he actually had nothing to worry about. The worst he could do was give him Duanchao's mining land. About an hour later, Yi Shi ran over in a hurry. Boss Xiao, something is wrong. Hong Yong came back just now and is nearby now. He seems to be waiting for someone. Yi Shi doesn't need to mine now. Xiao Wen arranges for him to patrol nearby and report to him if he finds anything suspicious. Back again, Xiao Wen looked at Yi Mo subconsciously. Yi Mo was recovering from his injuries. When he heard Yi Shi's words, he opened his eyes. It should be the mine that wants Duanchao. Boss Xiao, if he wants it, give it to him. Yi Mo's current plan is to wait until Cheng Ying and the others have a baby next time. When the time comes, Scar Lu will be destroyed directly. Xiao Wen nodded without any regrets, and then asked Yi Shi to go on patrol again and report to him if there was any situation. A quarter of an hour later, Yi Shi, who was patrolling, soon discovered Zheng Shi, and also discovered that Zheng Shi was followed by more than 40 people, all in the middle stage of Qi training. Seeing this situation, he immediately returned to the mine and reported to Xiao Wen. But Xiao Wen didn't wait for his reaction. Zheng Shi and Hong Yang led their men directly into the mine. "Boss Hong, why do you bring so many people here?" Xiao Wen asked calmly. Hong Yang did not answer him, but looked at Yi Mo beside Xiao Wen and said, "Xiao Wen, you are dishonest. How did you defeat Duan Chao and the others before? Why didn't you mention Yi Mo?" Yi Mo is just a subordinate of mine, what is there to say?" Xiao Wen was a little confused. "I don't know what Hong Yang means. Could it be that Yi Mo showed his strength in the late stage of Qi training before? But this isn't something that deserves too much attention, right? Haha, Yi Mo, I heard that you killed Duan Chao with one arrow before, and the power is no less than that in the later stage of Qi training. I don't know if it is true or not." Hong Yang looked at Yi Mo with a sneer. "Yes, I killed Duan Chao." Yi Mo naturally didn't know Hong Yang's intention and said truthfully, "So, you are already in the late stage of Qi training?" Hong Yang squinted his eyes slightly. He just checked Yi Mo's cultivation again and found that he was still in the middle stage of Qi training. In fact, he was a little unsure. Yi Mo was not very old, so it was logically impossible for him to learn the Qi condensation technique. "No, I just took a pill to temporarily improve my cultivation." Yi Mo naturally wouldn't admit it. Anyway, others can't see your true cultivation. However, he also had some doubts. Could it be that Hong Yang mobilized troops and mobilized people like this just to investigate his own cultivation? This doesn't make sense. HMPH, you will know soon if you have taken a pill to improve your cultivation. Although Hong Yang was not sure whether Yi Mo had taken the violent pill, he would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let go of one. After saying that, he waved his hand, and several of his men behind him immediately walked towards Yi Mo. "Hong Yang, what are you doing?" Xiao Wen immediately shouted forward, protecting Yi Mo behind him. He really didn't understand what Hong Yang was going to do. Even if Yi Mo was in the late stage of Qi training, there was no need to attack Yi Mo. "Xiao Wen, this is none of your business. Get out of here immediately, otherwise I will crush your mind today." Hong Yang's face was filled with murderous intent. The men behind him took out spiritual weapons, talismans, or condensed spells. As long as Xiao Wen dared to move, they would attack without hesitation. "Hong Yang, you have to give me a reason." Xiao Wen really didn't dare to act rashly, not because he was afraid of people like Hong Yang, but because he offended Scarlu, and there was absolutely no way for them to survive. "Reason? Why don't you ask Yi Mo and ask what he did?" Hong Yang said coldly. "Yi Mo, you." Xiao Wen looked at Yi Mo in confusion. "Boss Hong, I really don't know what I did. You asked me to hand over the spirit stones before, and I did. Is it because I didn't pay enough?" Yi Mo said. "You don't admit it, right? Then let me remind you, did you kill Zhang Wentao? Did you eat the Baoling Dan?" Hong Yang asked directly. "Boss Hong is joking, how could I kill Zhang Wentao in the middle of my first year? Besides, isn't Zhang Wentao your traitor? Even if I kill him, shouldn't you thank me?" Yi Mo finally understood that Hong Yang was looking for Zhang Wentao's elixir. But how could Hong Yang doubt himself? When he killed Zhang Wentao, no one should have seen it. If anyone knew, they wouldn't wait until now. Is it the yellow pill? Yi Mo's brain was working rapidly. Hong Yang doubted himself because he learned that his cultivation level was no less than the late stage of Qi training. Could it be said that that pill can greatly improve your cultivation? Thinking of this, Yi Mo felt a little excited. After entering the middle stage, if you want to break through to the late stage of Qi training, even if you use spiritual stones to practice every day, it will take at least 10 years. If the elixir can really improve your cultivation level quickly, it will greatly save your cultivation time. I said, right, you'll know after you try it. Hong Yang said no more, and several of his men quickly rushed towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo's face turned cold. He knew that Xiao Wen and his men would never dare to take action against Hong Yang, otherwise they would definitely be dead. Facing so many people from Hongyang, it was difficult for Imo to escape even if he wanted to. Unless he has trained Luo Yubu to great accomplishment, even basic accomplishment can be given a try. Wait a minute, are you looking for me for this yellow pill? With a thought in his mind, Imo put the yellow elixir to his mouth and shouted loudly, "Whoever dares to step forward, I will swallow the elixir right now." It is impossible to escape, and it is even more impossible to fight. Hongyang and others each have a fire bullet talisman, and Imo will be seriously injured even if he does not die. The only thing he can do now is to threaten with pills. And just as Imo expected, when he took out the elixir, Hongyang and Zheng Shi shouted to stop their men almost at the same time. Seeing the elixir in Imo's hand, Hongyang's eyes suddenly widened and his eyeballs seemed to fly out. He never expected that Imo didn't take the pill. Since it was determined that Zhang Wentao was most likely to be killed, even Scarlu did not expect it, and the violent pill was still there. The reason why we sent people to look for him was just to vent his dissatisfaction. "Imo, give me the elixir quickly." Hongyang looked surprised. At this moment, he found that Imo was much more pleasing to the eye than before. "You want to eat shit, but I can still live if I give it to you." Imo sneered and continued, "Seeing that you are so nervous, I am a little curious now, what is the specific use of this violent spirit pill?" Before Hongyang could reply, Xiao Wen on the side said, "It's really a powerful pill. No wonder Scarlu is looking for Zhang Wentao everywhere. Is the violent spirit pill very strong?" Imo roughly knew the effect of this pill, but he was not sure yet. The violent spirit pill can only be taken in the realm of Qi training, and it can only be taken once. One pill can allow a monk in the early stage of Qi training to break through to the later stage of Qi training. If taken in the later stage of Qi training, he can directly reach the perfection of Qi training. Quote, "The violent spirit pill is extremely noble, not to mention in this mine, and even in the outside world, it is very rare. No, if it only has this effect, Scarlu shouldn't value this elixir so much, right?" Imo said puzzledly. This was something he couldn't figure out at first. If it was just to increase his cultivation, it would have no effect on Scarlu. Isn't it possible that Mr. Scarlu hasn't cultivated Qi to perfection yet? No, Scarlu is a physical practitioner in a strict sense. He has reached the peak of the first layer of physical training a long time ago. As for the realm of immortal cultivation, it was only 2 years ago that he broke through to the late stage of Qi training. Once he takes if he uses the violent spirit pill, then no one in the entire mine will be his opponent. The more Xiao Wen talked, the more shocked he became. If Scarlu got the violent pill, there is no doubt that he would become the #1 person in the 5th mine. That's it. Imo nodded slightly. Imo, since you already know, you'd better hand over the violent spirit pill to me now, otherwise, not only you, but also Xiao Wen, and all of you here will not be able to survive. Hongyang threatened. What he said was not an exaggeration. If Imo didn't hand over the violent spirit pill, with Scarlu's character, he would definitely kill everyone here. After hearing this, Xiao Wen and others suddenly turned ugly. They did not doubt Hongyang's words. Many people looked at Imo. If they weren't afraid that Imo would swallow the elixir, they might have personally tied up Imo and handed him over to Hongyang. "If I give it to you, I can live." Knowing that the elixir was very important to Scarlu, Imo was not so worried. "Give it to me, and you will not only survive, but I can guarantee that the knife head will reward you, and it is not impossible for you to become the boss of this mine." Hongyang said immediately, "What guarantee do you have?" Imo naturally didn't believe Hongyang's words, and Imo couldn't afford to gamble. Without the magic pill, he was nothing in Scarlu's eyes. Why did Scarlu fancy him? Then how do you want to guarantee it? Hongyang asked coldly. This matter can be said to be unsolvable. Imo doesn't believe him, and Hongyang really has no way to guarantee it. "Let me discuss it with you and give you an answer later." Imo glanced at Xiao Wen and asked him to set up a soundproof formation. Then he called Bai He, Yi Shi, Ji Yu Jian, and Xiao Wu over. "Okay, I will give you 1 stick of incense. Imo, I can tell you clearly that after 1 stick of incense, whether you hand over the elixir or not, you will definitely die." Hongyang threatened again. Then he ordered his men to go to the base camp and call Scarlu over. Inside the formation, Xiao Wen and others frowned. Today seems like a roller coaster, with twists and turns. What they are worried about now is that even if Yimo hands over the violent spirit pill, Skarlu will still attack them. Boss Xiao, how long does it take to break through after taking this violent pill? Naturally, Yimo would not hand over the violent spirit pill to Skarlu, but it was impossible to let him go regardless of whether he handed it over to Skarlu. The only way is to take it yourself. If you break through to the late stage of Qi training, plus the current double increase, Yimo's spiritual power will be at least 120, which is twice the level of perfect Qi training. It will not be difficult to kill Skarlu by then. But the problem is that Yimo has enough time to make a breakthrough. I don't know about this, but it will take at least a week, but Yimo, even if you break through to the late stage of Qi training, the rest of us are probably no match for Skarlu. Xiao Wen frowned habitually. He could see that Yimo wanted to fight to the end, but this time he didn't have any confidence. Not to mention Skarlu is very powerful, and he has 5 or 6 late-stage Qi training people under his command, and more than 100 middle-stage Qi training people. This is simply impossible to fight against. Every Sunday, everyone, you should also know that with Skarlu's character, even if I hand over the violent spirit pill, he will not let us go. Our only way is to fight him. Quote. Yimo looked at a few people and said solemnly. One Sunday, that is, a complete route, takes about 1 or 2 hours. Yimo fell into deep thought, how to buy such a long time. How to fight. He and the others naturally understood, but they were a little afraid of Skarlu and did not dare to express their stance for a while. Even Xiao Wen fell into silence. After a long time, Yi Shi spoke up and said, Boss Xiao, I think we can take a gamble. If Yimo is gone, we may not be able to defend this mine. Even if Skarlu doesn't trouble us, Guanwei and the others will definitely. I won't let them go. That's right, brother, if it weren't for Yimo, we would have been wiped out by Guozhong long ago. Everything now can be said to be a profit. Even if we die in the hands of Skarlu this time, it won't be a loss. Xiao Wu also said. In the end, both Baihe and Ji Yujian nodded. Yimo, now that Hong Yang and the others are following us every step of the way, you have no chance to make a breakthrough. Xiao Wen knew that he had no way out. What he was worried about now was that Yimo couldn't make a breakthrough even if he wanted to. We'll take advantage of Skarlu's arrival to repel Hong Yang and the others first, then go to the Beibao Pavilion, and then find an excuse to stay in the Beibao Pavilion. No matter how strong Skarlu is, he shouldn't dare to attack the Beibao Pavilion. Beibao Pavilion is the largest comprehensive store in the 5th mine. Various resources for cultivating immortals are sold inside. Yimo could just take the opportunity to repair Wu Yuan's silver bow. Several people discussed it and finally agreed to Yimo's opportunity. There is no other way. Xiao Wen, in particular, couldn't help but sigh. Yimo, in the 10 days of known you, more things have happened than in the 20 years of known you. But now that I think about it, life should be like this. I would rather die standing than live. The reason why Xiao Wen sighed like this was because when he experienced several crises, Yimo always seemed to be able to avert danger. This made him question whether he had made the wrong choice by hiding here and there with his brother, he and the others, and swallowing his anger. Boss Xiao, don't be so pessimistic. There is an old saying in my hometown that the world is uncertain, and you and I are both dark horses. Go must have hope, otherwise, there is really no point. Without further ado, Yimo looked at Baihe and the others. Wait a minute, you can use firepower to suppress those in the middle stage of Qi training. Hong Yang leaves it to me. Boss Xiao blocks Zhang. Stone. After saying that, Yimo stepped out of the sound isolation array. He looked directly at Hong Yang firmly, without hiding anything, and his fighting spirit was in the air. When their eyes met, Hong Yang's face suddenly became so gloomy that he could drip water, and his voice was even colder to the extreme. You guys are looking for death. Hong Yang didn't expect that Yimo was so courageous and dared to resist when facing him. He originally wanted to wait for Skarlu to arrive in person, but it was obviously not necessary now. Everyone began to prepare for battle. Yimo did not hesitate to hold the silver bow in his hand, and the bowstring was fully drawn in an instant. The 4 Baihe people, each holding a gun in their hands, jumped into the air and fired at Hong Yang's men. Some miners who were casting spells were instantly interrupted. Xiao Wen held the spiritual sword in his hand and struck Zhang Shi with one strike. Then he shouted loudly to his men, "If you don't want to die, then kill with me." Xiao Wen and his subordinates had just gathered together in the past few days and had little cohesion. What's more, this is Hongyang, so almost half of the people are indifferent. Only a small group of people entered the battle after seeing the ancient sword take action. Yi Mo quickly condensed 3 spiritual weapon arrows and shot towards Hongyang. "I didn't expect you to still have the strength in the late stages of Qi training. That's great. Let's see how long you can last." Hongyang dodged 3 spiritual energy arrows, jumped several times, and quickly got closer to Yi Mo. At the same time, a black spear suddenly appeared in his hand. The gun body exudes a faint light, as if it can swallow up all matter. Yi Mo immediately retreated and drew the bowstring fully again. The spiritual arrow shot out again. Bang bang bang. 3 spiritual energy arrows were directly blocked by the spears. Hongyang's speed increased instead of slowing down, and his spear pointed directly at Yi Mo's eyebrows. Practice Qi to perfection. From the fight just now, Yi Mo can be sure that Hongyang has completed his Qi training, and this black spear is also a high-grade weapon. It was much more powerful than his damaged silver bow. Yi Mo suddenly felt the pressure increase sharply. He shot 3 arrows again, but they were still missed by the spear. "Give you another chance, hand over the violent spirit pill, and I can plead with the sword leader to spare your life." Hongyang saw that Yi Mo was at the end of his rope, so in order to prevent Yi Mo from breaking the pot, he took the violent spirit pill directly. Hongyang persuaded him again. Yi Mo naturally didn't believe what he said, so he forced himself to calm down. He knew that he must not panic at this time. If you panic, you will definitely make a mistake, and the consequences of making a mistake will be catastrophic. "You say this, do you believe it?" Yi Mo's eyes flashed, and a porcelain bottle suddenly appeared in his hand, and then he shouted to a miner who was watching a show dozens of meters away, "Han Li, hurry up, run with the violent spirit pill, the further away the better." Quote. After Yi Mo finished speaking, he threw the porcelain bottle out. Being smart, Hongyang naturally did not believe that the porcelain bottle contained a violent spirit pill, but he still chased after the porcelain bottle because he did not dare to bet that if the porcelain bottle contained a real violent spirit pill, he could not bear the responsibility. And when he thought about it, Yi Mo and his group had no room to resist. As soon as Hongyang left, Yi Mo immediately drew the bowstring to full capacity, shot at Hongyang's men, and shouted loudly, "Bai He, the 3 on the left." Boo hoo hoo. 3 spiritual energy arrows instantly broke through the defenses of the 3 middle-stage Qi practitioners. When Bai He and Yi Shi heard Yi Mo's shouts, they immediately reacted and turned their guns. The 3 of them were killed instantly in the middle of Qi training. Following the same pattern, Yi Mo's spiritual energy arrows were shot out wildly, while Bai He and the others were replenishing their shots. In just a few breaths, Hongyang's men lost 10 of their men. The remaining men were also completely suppressed and could only dodge. At this time, Hongyang also got the porcelain bottle, which was empty. Although it was expected, the anger in Hongyang's heart still rose. He immediately turned around, increased his speed to the extreme, and rushed towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo naturally wouldn't fight hard, so he played guerrilla with Hongyang in this small mining land. And if he seizes the right opportunity, he will shoot 3 arrows at Hongyang's men. In this way, the casualties of Hongyang's men gradually increased. Bai He and the others became braver as they fought. Seeing that Hongyang brought less than half of the people, "Hongyang, leave Yi Mo alone and destroy Bai He ancient sword first." Zhang Shi was entangled by Xiao Wen and could not take action at all. He could only watch his men being killed. At this time, he was also anxious. He had always heard rumors about the iron lump, but he didn't expect that the iron lump could be so evil. Although not very powerful, but it's a steady stream. And the speed is also surprisingly fast. Once the defense is broken, he can only escape. If all his men are dead, he and Hongyang will have no choice but to escape. Hongyang naturally saw it. He was unwilling to do so, but he still followed Zhang Shi's suggestion and rushed towards Bai He and the others with his gun. "Boss Xiao, stop Hongyang, I will deal with Zhang Shi." Yi Mo shot 3 arrows directly at Zhang Shi. Hongyang quickly stepped back and put away his sword. At the same time, the spiritual energy sword appeared in front of him. His hands changed, and the spiritual energy sword quickly shot towards Hong Yang. Facing Yi Mo's 3 spiritual energy arrows, he didn't panic as the number increased. He also formed a seal with his hands and quickly formed a curtain of water in front of him. The spiritual energy arrow hit the water curtain, and the water curtain shook violently, but in the end it still failed to break through the water curtain's defense. You underestimated them. Whether it is Zhangxi or Hong Yang, they are obviously not mediocre people like Duan Chao and others if they can be favored by Scarlu and stay by his side. Yi Mo, try 3 arrows in 1. Xiao Wen blocked Hong Yang for a moment and immediately shouted to Yi Mo. If you want to combine 3 arrows into 1, you need sufficient spiritual energy. If the silver bow is not damaged and can be inlaid with spiritual stones, it will be no problem to combine the 3 arrows into 1. But if you have enough cultivation, such as perfect qi training, you can also combine 3 arrows into 1. At first, Xiao Wen thought that Yi Mo was just temporarily improving his cultivation, and it was impossible to use 3 arrows in 1, so he never said anything. But now he saw that Yi Mo's previous battle with Hong Yang seemed to still have sufficient spiritual energy in his body, so he tried to say. How to combine 3 arrows into 1? Yi Mo asked immediately. Cover the 3 grooves with spiritual energy. Yi Mo did not hesitate and immediately poured the spiritual energy in his body into the 3 grooves. In an instant, the silver bow seemed to be activated, exuding a bright silver light. It's impossible. You were only in the middle stage of qi training before. Even if you use the secret method, you can't reach the perfection of qi training. Zhangxi's eyes narrowed. He didn't believe that Yi Mo could use 3 arrows in 1. This is completely unreasonable. However, the next second his eyes suddenly opened wide and his pupils slowly focused. I saw Yi Mo's fully drawn bowstring quickly condensing a spiritual energy arrow that was several times larger than before. Escape. Zhangxi's eyes were full of horror, and with the 3 arrows combined into 1, he couldn't stop him at all. However, it was still a step too late. The spiritual energy arrow was shot out, and in just the blink of an eye, it hit the water curtain in front of Zhangxi. The speed was at least twice as fast as the 3 spiritual energy arrows. The water curtain shook violently again. This time there was no obstacle, and the water curtain collapsed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Puff! The spiritual energy arrow instantly penetrated Zhangxi's abdomen. Zhangxi couldn't care less about the pain in his body. He immediately moved his body skills. At the same time, he quickly tapped the storage bag with his right hand. The next moment, a pill appeared in his hand. Holy Spirit Pill. Yi Shi, hurry up. Seeing the elixir that Zhangxi took out, Yi Mo immediately shouted. Yi Shi had actually been prepared for it a long time ago. Just wait for Yi Mo to break through Zhangxi's defense with 1 arrow. During this time, he had reached the point of blind worship of Yi Mo. Although he subconsciously felt that Yi Mo could not combine 3 arrows into 1 and break through Zhangxi's defense, he was still ready at any time. Da da da. Before the Holy Spirit pill in Zhangxi's hand could be put into his mouth, his body was directly beaten into a sieve. Yi Mo immediately rushed to Zhangxi, picked up the Holy Spirit pill, and took off Zhangxi's storage bag. The battle continues. At this time, Hong Yang's men, less than 10 in number, were already suppressed. If Hong Yang hadn't been there, they might have escaped long ago. However, now that Zhangxi was dead, the fear of death completely filled their bodies. They couldn't care so much and rushed towards the passage one after another. Yi Mo didn't chase them. He drew the bowstring again. An arrow shot at Hong Yang. Yi Mo, Xiao Wen, and you, I can guarantee you that you will not survive today. Facing Yi Mo's arrow, Hong Yang didn't panic like Zhangxi. He patted the storage bag and a shield appeared in his hand. Boom! Hong Yang was knocked out dozens of meters. The shield, however, remained intact. Another high-grade weapon. It's too late, Yi Mo, let's go. Xiao Wen looked at Yi Mo and knew that he would definitely not be able to kill Hong Yang in a short time. If Scarlu brings someone here, it will be impossible for them to leave. Good. Yi Mo nodded and then took out a spiritual sword. The spiritual energy is input into the sword, and the spiritual energy sword suddenly expands. Yi Shi and Ji Yujian immediately jumped on Feijian. Xiao Wen carried Xiao Wu and Bai He, and the 6 of them immediately flew towards the mine entrance. Hong Yong did not pursue them anymore, but watched them leave with a gloomy face. A few minutes later, Yimo and others rushed out of the mine. Because it was still early, there were not many people at the mine entrance. Yimo and others quickly arrived at Beibao Pavilion. It is said to be Beibao Pavilion, but it is actually a 2-story attic. There are no customers in the store at this time. There was only one middle-aged man standing at the counter. He was wearing a blue Taoist robe, with the word, Zan, engraved on his chest. Yimo couldn't tell that he was a foundation-building monk. Without saying a word, Yimo directly put the silver bow on the counter and asked, "Boss, can this be repaired?" "Hey, it's still a high-grade spiritual weapon. It can be repaired, but it's a bit expensive." The middle-aged man glanced at Yimo. "I found out that Yimo was only in the middle stage of Qi training, and I didn't expect to get a high-grade spiritual weapon." "How many?" "The repair price must be expensive, otherwise Wu Yuan would have taken it for repairs long ago." 4,000, 100% help you recover as before." The man pondered for a moment and said, "Okay, how long will it take to repair it?" Yimo didn't make a counteroffer. Although he is certain that such a high-grade spiritual weapon may not be worth 1,000 spiritual stones outside. Now it's just maintenance, but 4,000 spiritual stones are charged. This shop owner is obviously killing pigs. About an hour. The middle-aged man was overjoyed. He didn't expect to make a fortune today. "So long. Then can I heal my injuries here?" After Yimo finished speaking, Xiao Wen and the others looked at the shop owner. "Haha, you are treating my place as a refuge. Not just cats and dogs can stay here, so you have to pay extra." The shop owner's lips curled up, thinking to himself, this is a huge deal. "It should be so, boss, just tell me the number." Yimo has already greeted all the 18 generations of the shop owner's ancestors in his heart, but there is no other way. Scarlu should be here soon and they don't have much time. "There are 6 of you in total, let's give each one 1,000. The shop owner said while looking at the storage bags of Yimo and others. In fact, he also asked for a lot of money. But I didn't expect that Yimo and the others didn't counteroffer at all. Xiao Wen directly took out 6,000 spirit stones and placed them on the counter. Yimo also took out 4,000 spirit stones. "Okay, go up to the 2nd floor. There are many rooms inside. You 6 can do whatever you want." The boss finally couldn't help laughing. It's really bad luck today. This 10,000 spiritual stone seems to have fallen from the sky. He happily took the silver bow to the backyard of the shop. Yimo and Xiao Wen immediately went upstairs. There are 4 or 5 rooms on the 2nd floor, and each room is equipped with a formation. "Yimo, after taking the Bowling Dan, what are your chances of winning against Scarlu?" Entering the room, Xiao Wen finally couldn't help but ask. Xiao Wen didn't expect that Yimo, who was only in the middle stage of Qi training, could combine 3 arrows into one. Originally, he didn't have any hope. But now there was hope in his eyes. "Boss Xiao, taking the Bowling pill is just the beginning. As long as you give me 10 days and a half, I will lead you to dominate the entire 5th mine. In a few days, Cheng Ying and Yang Xiqi will give birth to a child. By then, Yimo's strength will definitely be stronger than the average in the initial stage of foundation building. Fighting for the 5th mine is definitely a piece of cake. I didn't think too much about it. As long as we get through this crisis, the position of boss will be yours from now on." Xiao Wen patted Yimo on the shoulder. He couldn't even think about competing for the 5th mine. Sha Qi, the big boss of the East District alone, has more than a dozen late Qi practitioners around him. Even if Yimo can fight with Scarlu, it is impossible to kill Sha Qi, otherwise Scarlu would have taken action long ago. "Leave the room." Xiao Wen and others came to the window and stared out the window. Not long after, they saw Scarlu coming from the entrance of the mine with hundreds of people. Even though he was hundreds of meters away, Xiao Wen felt the powerful pressure brought by Scarlu. "Brother, can we survive this time?" Xiao Wu looked at his elder brother with a solemn expression. "Don't be afraid, even if I die, I will still go in front of you." In the room, Yimo sat cross-legged, getting rid of distracting thoughts. After a while, he took out the violent spirit pill and swallowed it in one gulp. The elixir melted immediately in his mouth, and a majestic spiritual energy rose up in his belly. Like the rolling Yangtze River, the waves are turbulent. Yi Mo immediately activated his technique. The surging spiritual energy immediately circulated along with the meridians in his body. I don't know how long it took, but a steady stream of spiritual energy flowed into the Dantian like a rushing river. Increase spiritual power by 1. Increase spiritual power by 2. Keep adding 30. The next second, without any obstruction, Yi Mo felt like a membrane bursting inside his body. Spiritual power value 40. Spiritual power value 41. Until the spiritual power value reaches 45. The medicinal properties of the violent spirit pill were finally exhausted. Yi Mo viewed the properties panel. Host: Yi Mo. Kung Fu. Evergreen Kung Fu. Realm: late stage of Qi training. Spiritual power value: 45/60. Spells: Fire Bomb, Great Accomplishment, Light Body, Beginner, Quicksand, Not Beginner, Luo Yubu, Not Beginner. Cultivation level increase: 2 times 45 plus 90. Lifespan: 0 excluding the host's own lifespan. 1 hit, 1 time, refresh at 0 point, charge for half an hour before activation. After the cultivation level is increased, the spiritual power value reaches 135, which is twice as high as the perfect Qi training. Yi Mo immediately circulated the spiritual energy in his body, and the next second, a fireball that was bigger than a basketball appeared in his palm. If this blow doesn't kill Scar Lu, I can eat shit. Yi Mo's confidence doubled. Then he stood up and opened the door. Xiao Wen and others were waiting outside the door. Breakthrough. I don't know if it was his illusion, but when Xiao Wen saw Yi Mo, he felt that Yi Mo was exuding strong confidence. If it were before, Yi Mo would be a sharp sword about to be unsheathed. So at this moment, this sharp sword has shown its edge that can cut through everything. Well, has the silver bow been repaired? Yi Mo smiled slightly. Although Yi Mo now feels that he can kill Scar Lu even if he only uses fire bombs, but if the silver bow is repaired, even if Scar Lu is hiding in the crowd, he will be confident that he can kill him with one strike. It has been repaired a long time ago. Boss Zhu is waiting for us in the backyard. Yi Mo's breakthrough took an hour, and the silver bow had been repaired half an hour ago. During this period, Xiao Wen and the others were waiting very anxiously. Scar Lu was already at the entrance of the mine to the wooden houses, all filled with his own people. Moreover, the shop owner was also a little impatient. If Yi Mo didn't come out again, he might come and drive people away. Okay, let's go get the bow. Yi Mo nodded and then took the lead towards the stairs. Yi Shi walked on his left and said softly, Yi Mo, Scar Lu has gathered his men nearby. He is personally stationed at the entrance of the mine, and Hong Yang is at the wooden house. Where are we going to break out later? Perhaps during this period, Yi Shi had experienced too much. Although Yi Shi felt that he was probably going to die this time, he did not have much fear, but was full of passion. No, I will kill Scar Lu later and we will go to his mine together. Yi Mo put a hand on Yi Shi's shoulder, and the two walked down the stairs arm in arm. That's okay, I'll shoot you later. Yi Shi said seriously. It should be time to turn in the spirit stone now. There are too many people, so it's best not to use guns. Yi Mo reminded. Although many people have seen the gun, the news has spread out that it is very strange, so many people still don't believe it. So the machine gun is still a trump card now. The conversation between the two was relaxed and comfortable, but Xiao Wen and others were a little bit dumbfounded. From Yi Mo's tone, he seemed to have heard that Scar Lu would die soon. It seems that I can take the position of the little boss of the East District tonight. Several people came to the backyard, and Yi Mo saw the shop owner at a glance, sitting at the main seat in the lobby of the backyard. On the guest table next to him, there was a silver long bow. From a distance, Yi Mo discovered that the 3 grooves of the silver bow were already inlaid with 3 spiritual stones. Entering the lobby, store owner Zhu Xingyan raised his head and glanced at Yi Mo. Just as he was about to give the silver bow to Yi Mo, Zhu Xingyan was suddenly stunned. You are a good boy. In just 1 hour, you have reached the late stage of foundation building. Let me guess, you didn't take the violent pill just now, did you? Zhu Xingyan was obviously a little surprised. When he first met Yi Mo had just broken through the middle stage. Now he has reached the late stage of continuous energy in just an hour. It seems that only the violent spirit pill can do it. But how can there be a violent elixir in this mine? Boss Zhu is indeed very discerning. Unfortunately, I only have one violent spirit pill. If I had a few more, my brothers would be able to break through to the later stages just like me. Oh, by the way, Boss Zhu, I wonder if I can. How many violent pills will you sell me? Yi Mo said. He thought to himself that if he could get another violent spirit pill and give it to Liu Baijin, it would definitely shorten the time it took Liu Baijin to build his foundation. By then, Yi Mo will be building his foundation soon. Regardless of the fact that Yi Mo's spiritual power has reached 45 now, even if he takes the spirit gathering pill every day to practice, it will still take several years. You really know how to open your mouth like a lion. Do you know how rare the spiritual herbs used to refine the violent pills are? I'll buy you a few. Zhu Xingyan seemed too lazy to tell Yi Mo more, picked up the silver bow and threw it to Yi Mo, and then sneered, "Boy, although you have broken through the late stage now, if you want to defeat Scar Lu with this bow, I'm afraid it's a bit whimsical. I don't like to fight and kill people the most. If you can come up with 18,000 spiritual stones again, I will help you talk to Scar Lu. What do you think? I appreciate Boss Zhu's kindness, but I've always been a person who handles my own affairs." Yi Mo caught the silver bow and input spiritual energy into it. The silver bow immediately emitted a strong silver light. Then he walked out of the store without looking back. As for the violent spirit pill, Yi Mo just said casually that if he could really buy the violent spirit pill, Scar Lu wouldn't have to look for him. 5,000 is fine, little brother, cultivation is not easy, so you must be careful. Zhu Zhengyan shouted loudly from behind. However, Yi Mo ignored him. This kid must still have a lot of spirit stones on him. I'll tell you later. I helped this kid repair his spiritual bow. I haven't given him the spirit stones yet. When they die, I will take their storage bags. No one should have said anything. Zhu Zhengyan thought to himself. Then he got up and walked outside the store. Outside the store, Yi Mo appeared. Scar Lu's leader came over in a hurry. Because it was time to hand in the spirit stone, the miners were already surrounded by miners near the mine entrance. Of course, these people are all here to see the show. What's going on? Why did Xiao Wen offend Scar Lu? It seems that Xiao Wen's people killed Zheng Shi. I heard that Xiao Wen robbed Scar Lu's things. What kind of elixir is it? I don't know exactly what it is. How did I hear that Xiao Wen had an affair with Scar Lu? What else happened? When did it happen? More than 20 years ago, Scar Lu had just entered the mine, and Scar Lu's Taoist companion had just become pregnant. Some time ago, some new miners said that Scar Lu's son was looking more and more like Xiao Wen. Xiao Wen has conquered several forces these days and is also somewhat famous in the mine. Rumors about him have become all kinds. The life of miners is already boring, and they are also keen on arranging some famous stories. The moment Yi Mo walked out of the store, Scar Lu then discovered that Yi Mo had broken through to the late stage. I will chop your skin, flesh, and bones into pieces and scatter them in every corner of the mine. What I was most worried about finally happened. Scar Lu was furious. If his anger had been concrete, it would have broken through the sky at this moment. The violent spirit pill is definitely more important to him than his own mother. Once he takes the violent pill, he is absolutely sure to sweep through the fifth mine. He walked towards Yi Mo step by step. He didn't want Yi Mo to die so easily. He wanted Yi Mo to feel the fear of death. He wanted to cut off Yi Mo's skin and flesh one by one, and then heal Yi Mo's wounds until his last breath. This was the first time that the onlookers saw Scar Lu so angry. Discussions arose. Boss Guan, what happened? Why is Scar Lu so angry? A middle-aged man frowned. This person is a subordinate of Sha Qi, the big boss of Dongchu, named Rao Xing, and the boss Guan he talks about is Guan Wai. I don't know. I sent Wu Yuan to intercept and kill Xiao Wen today, but none of the 30 brothers survived. I don't even know how they died. Guan Wai shook his head. When Wu Yuan died, he lost more than half of his strength, which also made him a little afraid of Xiao Wen. But now that he saw Scar Lu trying to eat Xiao Wen and the others, he suddenly felt gloating in his heart. Not only him, but Quan Jumping, who was hiding in the corner, was already happy. Once people like Xiao Wen die, his position will be completely stable. Could it be that Tao Ancestor Heavenly Venerable is protecting me? Quan Jumping couldn't help but think to himself, the corners of his mouth curled up involuntarily. In a 3-story attic less than 100 meters away from the mine entrance, Luyan stood at the window and stared quietly out of the window. She glanced at Yimo involuntarily, but there was no change on her face. At this time, Zhu Zhengyan, the owner of Tianbao Pavilion, came to the door of the store. He was ready to snatch Yimo and others' storage bags at any time. Scarlu walked step by step. He had no words, only endless anger. Every time he takes a step, he will leave a deep footprint under his feet. The skin on the face slowly transformed from fair to golden. The onlookers suddenly let out a burst of exclamations. The golden color represents the limit of the first layer of body refining, which is only one step away from the second layer of body refining. Rao Xing, who was not far away, suddenly narrowed his eyes. In the entire fifth mine, the only person who can threaten Sha Qi is Scarlu, and Scarlu is also the person Sha Qi pays the most attention to. It seems we can't delay it any longer. Scarlu must solve it as soon as possible. Rao Xing thought to himself. Naturally, Sha Qi would not watch Scarlu continue to be strong. This is also the most fundamental reason why Scarlu wants to obtain the violent spirit pill, because he knows that Sha Qi cannot leave him too much time to practice. Only now everything is in vain. Yimo looked at Scarlu who was walking towards him. A look of indifference, lifting the bow, pulling the string, and in an instant, a spiritual arrow quickly shot out. I'm going to drink up your blood. Scarlu ignored Yin Gong. He exerted force on his feet and suddenly rushed toward Yimo like a running rhinoceros. His body was like a stream of light, moving extremely fast, leaving golden afterimages behind him. Xiao Wen and others stood behind Yimo, but they did not make any move. Because if Yimo can't stop Scarlu, then everything they do will be in vain. Little brother, do you want to think about it again? Zhu Zhengyan at the store door thought for a while and grabbed the storage bag directly, which seemed a bit shameless. Yimo still ignored it. When the spiritual energy arrow condensed into shape, Yimo did not release the arrow immediately. He began to mobilize the spiritual energy all over his body and poured it into Gong's body crazily. The spirit stones in the 3 grooves shrank rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than one breath, all 3 spirit stones were consumed. At this moment, the spiritual energy arrow on the bowstring seemed to have become a substance. From the previous illusion, it turned into a silver sword. This, Zhu Zhengyan, who was standing at the door of the store, suddenly opened his eyes wide with a look of disbelief. Under what circumstances can a spiritual arrow turn into reality? The spiritual energy in the body must reach a certain level. This spiritual energy must definitely exceed the perfection of ordinary qi training. For example, he transformed the spiritual energy arrow into substance without the need for spiritual stones. But Yimo had just broken through the late stage of qi training, so it was absolutely impossible to do it. Could it be that there is something wrong with this person's practice? Some skills are indeed much richer in spiritual energy at the same level, but such skills can only be practiced by geniuses. It is impossible for a Bailing to succeed in cultivation. Scarlu naturally discovered Yimo's abnormality. But he didn't care, it was his confidence. One arrow can decide the world. Yimo relaxed his hands. At this moment, he was only tens of meters away from Scarlu. The spiritual arrow passed by instantly. Scarlu still maintained his forward posture. 10 meters, 5 meters, 1 meter. Pong. The miners not far away didn't seem to understand what happened. Scarlu fell heavily in front of Yimo. Not moving. The scene was still for 3 seconds. Yimo took off Scarlu's storage bag and put it into his cuff. Then he turned and walked towards the store. Boss Zhu, I want to buy some spiritual herbs for the Zuyan pill, as well as some books with detailed formulas and explanations of the pill. Killing Scarlu was expected, and Yimo ignored everyone's surprise. He asked Zhu Zhengyan as if nothing happened. The reason why I bought the Encyclopedia of Elixirs was mainly to prevent myself from being kept in the dark if I got any noble elixirs again in the future. If only I had known about the violent spirit pill early on. These days, it won't be so dangerous. Yes, a big yes. Zhu Zhengyan reacted from the shock and immediately smiled. Business was more important. And as Scarlu was killed by an arrow, the entire mine was completely boiling. Who can tell me who this person is? I want to kowtow to him 3 times. This is my biological father. I know, His name is Yi Mo, and my name is Yi Fan. This is my half-brother. Yi Mo, why am I a man? Brother, chrysanthemums can also bloom. Then what are you waiting for? Go back to Skarlu's mine. Tonight, Yi Mo will accept me no matter what. The miners were completely devastated. Killing Skarlu with one arrow, what a power it is. They seemed to see that Yi Mo was about to dominate the entire fifth mine. This is also the best time to take refuge. Boss Guan, you'd better go to Boss Sha with me now. Rao Xing glanced at Guan Wai, and then flew directly towards the mine entrance with his sword. At the attic window, Lu Yan gently tapped the window edge with her slender fingers. Chrysanthemums can only be used for farting. Yi Mo bought 30 copies of the Beauty Pill Spirit Herb this time. There is also a book made from spirit wood. It contains many elixir formulas and common alchemy techniques. Yi Mo looked through it a few times and found the formula for the violent spirit pill. Because this book is made of spirit wood, it is expensive, costing 1,000 spirit stones. Yi Mo didn't think anything of it. He had just checked Skarlu's storage bag. There were a lot of things in it, including 50,000 pieces of spiritual stone alone. There are also many spiritual weapons and talismans. There are also a few formation flags that are extremely rare in the mine. There are defensive formation flags and hidden formation flags. The hidden formation flag is still very useful to Yi Mo, and it will be much more convenient when leaving in the future. Sneak stuff into system space. Then Yi Mo bought another 100 spirit gathering pills and used 2,000 spirit stones. In the end, when both Yi Mo and Zhu Zhengyun were very satisfied, Yi Mo returned to the mine. However, as soon as he reached the entrance of the mine, a woman's voice suddenly came to mind. Yi Mo, I hope no more people die in the past few days, otherwise I will look for you personally. The sound came very suddenly, and Yi Mo immediately looked around. Soon, I saw Lu Yan standing at the window. Is this a sound transmission? As long as your cultivation level breaks through the foundation building, you can transmit sounds. Yi Mo looked at Lu Yan, and after 3 seconds, nodded slightly to her. 60 or 70 miners died today. This should be the limit of the sect. Enter the mine. Several people went directly to Skarlu's mine. Behind him, there were many people following. Among them there are many miners who are in the middle stage of Qi training, and there are even a few miners who are in the later stage. Yi Mo refused to reject anyone who came and took them all under his command. Skarlu's mine is more than 10 times larger than the previous one. It can accommodate 400 to 500 people mining. Next, Yi Mo directly arranged a defensive formation and meditated to heal his injuries. All matters regarding the mine were left to Xiao Wen. Ever since Yi Mo killed Skarlu, Xiao Wen and others felt like they were in a dream along the way. A dozen days ago, they were still a group of homeless dogs, but now they have transformed into the overlord of one party. This is very illusory and unreal. Brother, do we need to count the number of people mining now? Xiao Wu saw that his elder brother was a little erratic and giggled from time to time, so he reminded him. That's right, recruit the bosses of big and small forces immediately. Bai He, go and count how many casual workers there are. Xiao Wenhao was so angry that he waved his hand and ordered. October 5th. It was finally confirmed that there were 1,250 miners in total. Basically, the miners here in the East District have to hand over 5 spiritual stones to Skarlu. There are hundreds of large and small mines. Xiao Wen has not changed. It was the same as it was before and it is still the same now. October 6th, morning, Sha Qi sent people to arrive. It was Rao Xing who led the team, and their purpose was to discuss the matter of handing over the spirit stone to Sha Qi. Yi Mo, according to the agreement we made with Skarlu, the spiritual stones we receive every day are 30 to 70. You have 3 to 7 and we have 7. Before Wu Yuanao Zhangxi died, more than 1,300 people turned in spiritual stones, and more than 6,000 spiritual stones were handed in every day. Skarlu can leave at most 2,000 spiritual stones, and the rest must be handed over to Sha Qi. Ask Sha Qi to come and tell me in person. If he dares to come, I will give it to him. Sha Qi's strength is definitely not weak, but he relies on more than a dozen subordinates who are in the late stage of Qi training. Yi Mo naturally wouldn't hang on him. If it weren't for the sake of being more secure, Yi Mo would have gone to Sha Qi's base camp early in the morning. Yimo, don't think that killing Scar Lu will make you the best in the world. You have to know that in the East District, we, Boss Shaw, still have the final say. Rao Xing said gloomily. He didn't expect that Yimo didn't even return the counter-offer and refused directly. What does Yimo want to do? Does he think he can really sweep through the fifth mine? Really, how about you try it now? Yimo sneered and continued, Rao Xing, go back and tell Hong Yang and Guan Wai to wash their necks. Sooner or later I will twist them off. After Yimo finished speaking, he ignored Rao Xing and returned to the formation to heal his injuries. He was seriously injured by Wu Yuan before, and now there are thick scars on his chest, left shoulder and calf, although the injuries have been stabilized. Xiao Wen, do you mean this too? Rao Xing looked at Xiao Wen with a gloomy face. What I mean is that Sha Qi also washes his neck. Xiao Wen thought to himself, with Yimo here, who should I be afraid of? Ha ha ha, okay, I will tell Boss Shaw truthfully what you said. Rao laughed angrily, turned around and left. Late afternoon. Yimo told Xiao Wen that he wanted to find a place where no one was around to heal his injuries. Then he secretly left the mine. Later, in a remote mining area, he activated the boundary stone and returned to Blue Star. Tianhe apartment. After Yimo came back from Transmigrate, he turned on his phone immediately. Not long after, Lian Rong called. He said that he had something important to discuss with Yimo. Yimo directly asked him to come to Tianhe apartment. After hanging up the phone, Yimo went downstairs and knocked on Lu Baijin's door. After the door opened, Yimo suddenly had several bottles of pills in his hand, which were the 100 spirit gathering pills purchased at Tianbao Pavilion. This is the spirit gathering pill. From now on, you can use the pill to practice. Your practice should be much faster. Yimo smiled slightly and handed over the elixir. However, Lu Baijin did not pick it up, but took off Yimo's shirt. The next second, her tears flowed down, almost choking. Yimo, can we stop cultivating immortals? Lu Baijin gently touched a 30-centimeter long scar on Yimo's chest, and his body couldn't stop trembling. When Yimo knocked on the door just now, she opened her consciousness and discovered Yimo. She also saw the wounds on Yimo's body. Although Yimo has been healing his wounds in the past 2 days, the scars have not healed so quickly and are still clearly visible. It's just a minor injury, it will be fine in a few days. Yimo gently wiped Lu Baijin's tears and said softly. No, you can't leave me again. I don't want any spiritual stone pills. Lu Baijin raised his little head, his moist eyes revealed a firm gaze. Sit down first and listen to me tell you slowly. Yimo pulled Lu Baijin to the bed. If he could not leave, Yimo would naturally not want to leave. He would not even look for other women and would have 11,100,000 children with Lu Baijin. It's just that he can't help it. So he planned to tell Lu Baijin something. Sister Baijun, in fact, this world is not as simple as it seems on the surface. The entire universe is divided into 3 layers of worlds, 1, 2, middle and 3 small. The first one is the holy world. This is the ultimate goal of all cultivators, commonly known as becoming a saint. The second middle school is the immortal world. The immortal world is divided into 3 major groups: God Clan, Immortal Clan, and Monster Race. The God Clan refers to a group of monks who cultivate their bodies. When their bodies reach a certain level of cultivation, they can break the void and ascend to the immortal world, Immortal Clan, that is, immortal cultivators like us. Needless to say, the Monster Race is a group of monsters. The 3 little worlds, also known as the Blue Star in my world, are commonly known as the 3,000 little worlds. In other words, there are countless blue stars like us in the entire universe. Although these small worlds do not interfere with each other, they are closely connected, often collide due to some small movements, thus connecting the 2 worlds. Quote, our blue star's spiritual veins have been exhausted, but I don't know when Blue Star collided with an adjacent world. This makes Blue Star's spiritual veins very likely to recover. By then, Blue Star is very likely to enter the age of cultivators. The most significant change is that those animals have a high probability of turning into monsters. By then, Blue Star will probably enter an era of chaos, with order being chaotic and law disappearing. Quote, although this is just a guess, we have to guard against it, so in the future, don't say anything about not practicing. Yimo said solemnly. Although he was making up a story, the background of the world was not made up by him. He had heard similar words in the water-moon realm, but he didn't know whether they were true or false. Since it's just a guess, what's the matter with your injury? Yimo, there are some things I don't want to ask you. For example, I turn a blind eye when you are messing around outside, but you can't do it every few times. Months later, when I come back, I'm either tired or injured. Lu Baijin couldn't help but shed tears when he saw the shocking wound on Yimo's chest. Which fool said that I was messing around outside? Yimo yelled as if his tail had been stepped on. It doesn't matter what other people say. I'm an immortal cultivator now, and I have a very good nose. I smelled a woman's scent on you several times when you came home, and it's different from each other. I just won't tell you. Lu Baijin said. Sister Baijun, there are some things that I really can't explain to you. Take the matter of women as an example. My only purpose is to become stronger. You may not be able to understand it, but I can swear that if there is even half a sentence about this, if you tell a lie, 5 thunderbolts from the sky will strike me to pieces. After Yimo finished speaking, a flash of lightning suddenly flashed in the sky, followed by thunder. Yimo looked out the window and cursed, Mu Mu Lagobi, and then looked at Lu Baiyun. It's not me who struck. It must be some fool swearing poison. I said, I won't ask you these things. I'm just worried that one day you will leave and never come back. Lu Baijin looked into Yimo's eyes. She could feel that Yimo was very tired now. She reached out and touched Yimo's face. Have you not slept for a few days? Something happened, so I haven't slept for the past 2 days. Yimo nodded. Yimo, can't you take me with you? I am also an immortal cultivator now, and I have learned the fire bullet technique. Lu Baijin has learned the fire bomb technique a long time ago, and is almost at the basic accomplishment level. Yimo could feel that Lu Baijin really cared about him. He couldn't help but hold her in his arms and gently stroke her hair. Fool, where I go, family members are not allowed. Yimo did an experiment when he was transmigrating. He caught a little mouse, but after transmigrating, he found that the little mouse was missing. In other words, the boundary stone could only transport him alone, unless it was a dead thing. After comforting Lu Baijin prepared to cook. Not long after, Lian Rong arrived. Yimo took him to his room. What's the matter, are you in such a hurry to find me? Yimo filled a pot of water and prepared to boil water for tea. The world has changed. The world has really changed now. 2 months ago, the Feng family suddenly released a pill that martial artist takes. The effect of this pill is at least 10 times more powerful than the previous qi and blood pills. Feng family, it can be said that the family has gone crazy, and all the major sects in the country are seeking cooperation. Quote. As Lian Rong spoke, he looked at Yimo, grabbed a handful of tea leaves and threw them into the kettle. Yimo did know a little bit about qi and blood pills. Blue Star's martial artist, the internal force is generated mainly through the refining of qi and blood. Qi and blood can be relieved by eating or taking qi and blood pills. However, qi shui pills are very expensive and are not available in large quantities, so most martial artists cannot afford them. Now Lian Rong said that the Feng family had elixirs that were 10 times better than the qi and blood pills, which made Yimo a little curious. What elixir? Why haven't I heard of it before? Yimo asked. It didn't exist before. No, it shouldn't be said that it doesn't exist in modern times. Maybe it existed in ancient times. In order to distinguish qi and blood pills, the Feng family named it qi and blood pills. Yimo, the Feng family started to develop the medicinal materials industry 2 or 3 years ago, most likely to build momentum for the qi and blood pill. Quote. The Feng family is involved in the medicinal materials industry. Lin Shangqian always thought that the Feng family was going to attack his Lin family. Now it seems that the Lin family has completely overthought it. The Feng family may have never looked directly at the Lin family from beginning to end. Then what? To be honest, Yimo didn't want to pay attention to such a thing at all. It was a complete waste of his time. After waiting for 2 minutes, there was no response from the kettle. He directly fired out a burst of spiritual energy, and soon the water in the kettle began to roll. What then? Lian Rong looked at Yimo's operation of boiling water with a confused look on his face. Was he dazzled just now? Is it because the internal force is released externally? Doesn't it mean that innate can only release the internal force externally? It should be a coincidence that the water is getting hotter. It must be. I mean, no matter what happens to the Feng family, no matter what happens to the Lin family, there is no need to argue with them. You are two races now. You have successfully researched the Zuyan pill, and everything has been solved. Quote. Regarding the elixirs cultivated by martial artists, they are also available in the Water Moon realm. In the memory of the original owner came from a small city. In addition to immortal cultivators, there were many mortals in the city, including many who practiced martial arts. If Yimo wanted to transport some elixirs taken by martial artists, it would not be difficult, and such elixirs were also very cheap, but he had never thought of doing so. Because Yimo knew that Blue Star didn't have these elixirs at all, and taking them directly would definitely cause a sensation. Before you have absolute strength, you will only cause trouble for yourself. The problem is that we still have no clue about the Zuyan pill. Moreover, because of the emergence of the Feng family Qi and blood pill, the practice of martial artist has become much simpler. In just 2 months, there have been continuous reports of martial artist breakthrough news. Take Yongcheng as an example, the number of heaven-grade martial artists has doubled, and even strong innate artists have appeared. Lian Rong looked solemn and continued, in the past, due to difficulties in cultivation, both sects and families would control the number of martial artists, but now, martial artists are springing up all over the country. If this continues, the Lin family in Yongcheng the status is definitely not guaranteed and will soon be replaced by other martial artist families. How many Qi and blood pills do the Feng family have? Yimo frowned slightly. If the Feng family has many pills to enhance their strength, even if the country does not intervene, other sects and families will definitely take action. How can the Feng family be saved? No one knows how many there are specifically. Anyway, the Feng family has opened Zhonghe Medicine Hall in major cities across the country, and the number of Qi and blood pills sold every day is also limited. However, every once in a while, the Feng family will hold a meeting in Yongcheng at the auction. A large amount of Qi and blood pills will be auctioned. The Feng family stipulates that an auction will be held every other month. The last auction held, at least half of the martial artists from all over the country came to Yongcheng, which was an unprecedented event. No one covets the Feng family. The country doesn't take action either. Yimo asked curiously. Of course, people from the 4 major sects and the 9th Bureau have all been to the Feng family, but the final result is shocking. Not only did the 4 major sects and the 9th Bureau not interfere with the elixir matter, but they actually protected them. Those martial artists who want to deal with the Feng family secretly have been severely warned. Quote, I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.